Warning! The Stone Age Gamer podcast includes a lot of bad language. Cover your motherfucking ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I'm Chris Randazzo and joining me tonight is suspiciously white-bearded man Dan Ryan. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
And chunky little Mega Man, Dean DeFalco.
Oh, nice.
Why do I gotta be a chunky little Mega Man? Am I like a little potato Mega Man?
You're not actually chunky, and you know it.
Fair. All right.
Of the
you're not
of
wrong.
us, come now.
I'm a fairly slim man.
Come
All
again?
aboard
And in my
the
ears
SAG
this time?
Cartoon Express. This month we're watching a classic, and I mean classic, episode of Captain N the Game Master. Did it fulfill our requisite needs for blue King Hippo nipples? Don't get replaced by your evil mirror doppelganger because the Stone Age Gamer podcast starts now. Hi everyone, it's episode 526, not 256, that was years ago. It's the week of August 9th, 2024, and welcome. For anyone new here, this is the official podcast of StoneAgeGamer.com. Dan and I talk every week about what's happening in the world of video games from retro gamers' perspective, as well as whatever the hell else is going on in our lives. And speaking of which, gentlemen, how are you? Can we have a quick Deadpool and Wolverine spoiler cast before we get to the meat and potatoes of things?
Yeah, let's do it. This is your warning, fuckfaces.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, everyone on the show. Last week, I was chomping at the bit to discuss. Karen and I were lucky enough to get to go see it on Thursday for our anniversary last week, but nobody else had. So now we're here, and we can talk about it. And I thought it was fantastic.
I concur. Yeah, it was really, really good. Did you guys, so I don't know a lot about X-Men and stuff, and just real quick, but I don't want to jump into it, but did you guys know who that big bad was, the lady? Because I was
Cassandra
like, so she's like a comic character, like established?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, because I was like, who are you? We're getting deep in the weeds if I don't know who you are.
Yes,
so
for the record,
I was taken by surprise.
Dean and I met when we both worked at a comic book store.
Yeah. I did not follow the conventional comic book line, though. I read a lot of Mega Man. That was the book I bought the most. A lot of Looney Tunes.
A lot of old issues of Woody Woodpecker.
Big on the Uncle Scrooge.
Yeah, huge on the Uncle Scrooge. Oh, man, we had a lot lot of good times there, though. So many bad times.
There's your episode title.
Huge on Scrooge.
But it's huge.
It's awesome.
Huge on Scrooge.
Huge on Scrooge.
Excuse me, I was the hugest and the Scroogest of all time.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, no, I thought they did a really wonderful job of just stating the obvious. Like, this doesn't make any sense. We're just bringing Deadpool in. Like, it's just shit. Here.
And even
we're just
then,
bringing him in.
They kind of didn't. Like, at the end of the movie, he was back in his universe.
I mean, for a minute. Like, give it a minute.
Right, there's like a way.
Robert Downey Jr. is going to bring him back.
Yeah, now there's
with
a
him
pathway.
As Dr. Doom.
And it is my hope of hopes that it's not just Deadpool that comes over, that it is also Old Man Logan. Also Old Man Logan and Laura as Wolverine. That's what I want. Because Daphne Keene's young enough to do that job for a very long time. She's amazing at fighting, and he's going to do it till he's 90.
You look like a superhero Hawkeye. That was so fucking funny. If you're still listening and you're like, they're starting to spoil stuff and I'm going to get angry even though they said spoilers.
No, we did that.
Because that's happened before. No, I know, but it's happened before. But again, huge, gigantic, like 1998 Honda Civic spoiler on the back.
Oh, shit, that's a big wing, boy.
That's a big fucking spoiler, right? It's carbon fiber, but it's not. It's just like a sticker on it.
It doesn't match. It's on a red Honda.
No, yeah, it's like, why? Why did you do that? That's real dumb. Anyway, fucking Blade Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
Wesley Snipes
man.
turns that corner. But even that wasn't the biggest shock. The biggest shock to me was Channing Tatum Gambit.
Yep.
I was like, as soon as the card came, I was like, Gambit, is it going to be Taylor Kitsch? And then it was fucking Channing Tatum. I was like, it's Channing Tatum
so
Gambit.
good.
I said it out loud in the theater. I was so shocked.
Good.
And
I was hella hype.
The accent was fucking ridiculous, and I loved every second of it. They made it his accent into a huge joke, which I thought was hysterical. But his fight scene was so fucking cool.
It was so
dope.
dope.
So good.
Yeah, dude.
God,
I
seeing
love
proper
the
live action Gambit. Oh God.
They call me the Gambit. Do they, or did you just like really want him to? That was really excellent. It was so fucking funny.
Yeah,
and like the Gambit was incredible. Electra, like she looked fucking great.
She did.
Wesley Snipes. He said like that Peter Griffin clip that he said the thing.
Motherfuckers always trying to skate uphill.
Some motherfuckers still trying to ice skate uphill. I was like in the theater. I went he said the thing. So fucking
I
excited.
think it was really weird that they didn't get Bulletooth Tony back as Juggernaut, but
I really wish they
just
did, but
really
it's okay.
did not want to put that costume on again.
I was really sad that the Russian was not Kevin Nash.
Right?
Like he's not doing anything.
Well, he's old AF now, though. I guess they could have CG'd him.
Sure.
Yeah, but like Kevin Nash would have been way better of a pop for me.
That would have been awesome. Do you know who we're talking about, Chris?
I don't.
Which one?
So Thomas Jane Punisher?
Yeah.
He was
Thomas
the Russian.
Jane Punisher movie.
Uh-huh.
He was the big Russian with the big red striped shirt.
Kind of on the Garth Ennis books.
Oh, geez.
There's a dude
right.
as soon as they get to Paul Rudd's finally aged. As soon as they got to Ant-Man, he's standing there and he's got the red and white striped tank top on.
Yes.
That was Kevin Nash back in the day, and it was like, oh fuck. I really I love that Tyler Mane was in it. I
can't believe that they got the woman who played Lady Deathstrike back. Like, she wasn't even in it, but that was her.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Fucking
I thought they did a great job.
Nathan Fillion, the cowboy Deadpool was Matthew McConaughey. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, man.
Fucking fantastic.
It was so fun. And I know there's obviously pushback on the internet about how vapid it was. And it's like, fuck off. Fuck all the way up.
It's Deadpool.
I just want to have fun.
It had just enough heart, but it was so fun. The fucking Cavalrine, that whole Wolverine multiverse thing.
Yes.
Where, like,
it was great.
That was awesome.
What was the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine? Like when he's all crucified on the X.
Oh, yeah.
The fucking the Hulk cameo.
The Hulk cameo.
Yes.
God, I wish he was in that costume for the whole movie. He looked so good in the brown.
Me too.
He did.
And the reflection of Hulk. Oh my God, it was so good. And
that's
what was
the only
Thor
part
crying about. What was Thor crying about? I want to know.
That's the only part of the movie that
later.
bothered me because I'm such a fucking nerd about it. In that issue of the Incredible Hulk or Wolverine, whichever issue it is, that has the reflection, it's the gray Hulk.
Yeah.
It's not green. Like, I just wanted him to be gray. And I don't know how that looks in the reflection. It probably doesn't look right on screen or whatever. But I saw that and I was like, oh, that's so dope. But
Nah, I was happy with it. You had to have the green one in the movie.
Little tiny comic accurate Wolverine was so fucking funny. It was great. It was great.
You know what? Johnny Storm didn't see that coming.
Oh my God.
As soon as he landed, I was just like, because I'm sitting there next to Karen and she's such a huge Captain America fan. I was like, oh man, they've really got Chris Evans came back for Captain America in this. What is he doing there? And then and Deadpool said he's going to say it. Avengers he said flame on, and I just busted up laughing. I was like,
yeah.
And then the post credits.
Oh my God! Yes, that was so good.
Magical.
Gotcha, bitch.
He actually did.
That's awesome.
Oh God! Yeah. No, it was such a great movie. Yeah, start to finish, incredible. I mean, I don't know what anyone would really complain about with that. It was just so much fun.
Well, I mean, because it's a cameo fest, and okay, who cares?
It's like, Deadpool.
It's fun. It was well put together. It made enough sense, and it was fun. It doesn't have to be deeper than that. Sure, it could have been, but like, then you would have sacrificed the goofball nature of what this was always going to be. It's very silly. I loved it. I loved it.
Some things can just be fun.
Exactly. Some things can just be fun. I'm sure it's largely the Snyderverse crowd where everything's got to be dark and broody.
Yeah.
But God, oh God.
Oh, that right.
There was
as soon as he looks at the camera and he's like, where'd you get those jammies? It only took 20 fucking years. Like, yeah.
Oh God!
There was a whole like online petition started for with Henry Cavill. Like, Henry Cavill's got to be the new Wolverine, and Zack Snyder's got to direct the movie. It's like, no,
shut up!
No, he doesn't.
Oh, keep that shit far, far, far away.
I'm all right with Henry Cavill as Wolverine. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, but we don't need Zack Snyder.
That's the direction they want to go. But
if that is,
I like Zack Snyder when he is doing his own thing. Like, they're not good. 300 is not a good movie.
Well, it's a cool movie.
But it's a cool ass movie.
Exactly.
You're right.
It's a cool ass movie. It's not trying to tell a story.
Whatever that was, right? Like,
that was a weird movie.
It's a weird movie, but it looks
cool.
Yeah. Like, if that's what you're going for. But that's what you get Zack Snyder to do. And that's fine. Like, that totally has its place. But, no. Keep him away from Wolverine. It's fine. We don't need another Wolverine movie. He doesn't... we don't need another Wolverine movie.
I am 100% fine with them moving into X-Men without it being Wolverine in the X-Men. Because, all the Fox stuff, it was very... Because when that line was in one of the trailers, we were talking about, you weren't just one of the X-Men, you were the X-Man. And then everyone on the internet's just like, what are you talking about? Wolverine's not the X-Man. Blah, blah, blah. I was like,
yeah, he is.
In the Fox movies, he is.
Yeah.
In the comic books, he kind of is, but I can see the argument that no, he's not. But in the movies, he is inarguably the focal point of those movies.
Does Cyclops have his own solo movie? No.
And I gotta say,
because Cyclops sucks.
The mid credits farewell to the Fox movies got me a little.
That was cool.
Got me a little misty.
That was cool.
That was really cool.
Nice.
I hate those movies, though. I hate those movies. We have discussed that a few times on here. I think those movies are fucking garbage.
I can't say I hate them, but they're not great.
But it wasn't even
like
just
X2.
the X-Men movies. It was all the Fox things.
Yeah.
And like,
but they were all terrible.
Come on, all right.
They're all terrible.
They're not all terrible.
No, like Logan's good, and wasn't that still Fox?
Yeah, Logan's great.
Okay, so go fuck yourself, Dan.
All right, that's fair.
No, I take it back. Don't go fuck yourself. But like,
and those Fantastic Four movies are awful. But you know what? Those movies walked so the MCU could run. Like that
fair.
was.
We had to stumble a little bit.
After the MCU started, there was no excuse for them to be as bad as they were. But
also fair.
Pre-MCU, it was like superhero movies were still kind of figuring out their shit. Like,
we all make mistakes.
It took a while for them to understand that you can just make comic book movies. You don't really have to change everything to make them into.
You
like
don't have to be
something
Bryan Singer and ban comic books from the set of your comic book movie.
Yeah,
so that they don't look too comic booky. Like, fuck that dude. Ugh.
I made Larissa watch Blade not too long ago, and she could not get over that nightclub scene where they're like just everyone's getting murdered all over the place, and Blade's just annihilating people. Yeah, and then the second one with like the even crazier nightclub, and then like you have the what is it? Those demon fucking vampires, and at that point she's like, "This is just too much." She's like, "What's even happening anymore?" It's like vampires versus other vampires.
I haven't seen Blade 2 in ages, and I don't think I've ever seen Blade 3.
It's got Triple
Blade
H.
3 is so bad.
It's really bad.
I'm told.
Fun fact: it's got
so
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes,
it's got Ryan Reynolds. That's why he has that line of "You never liked me," because apparently, like on the set, Wesley Snipes was just Wesley sniping about the place and was a fucking monster to work with. And
That's
everybody hated everybody. Yeah. But Deadpool, Wolverine, outstanding.
Yeah. Awesome stuff.
Go see it, everybody. Go see it in the theater. And then pirate it. But go pay to see it in the theater first.
Nah, it's made enough. You're good now. You don't need to go.
Fuck them.
It's made its budget back. You're fine.
All right,
are we done? Are we spoilers?
Done.
Spoilers done?
We're
all right.
Spoilers done. Spoiler cast over. Back to
Traded
to
in the Civic. Got a sedan. Cool. Anyway,
nice Honda Odyssey.
What's going on with you fuckers? Because I mean, I have stuff to talk about, but
well, I mean, I'm sure my shit's the least crazy of all, so I'll start small. Just because it's been a fucking rough week. It's been just an exhaustingly brutal week, but I'm sure the two of you have much grander stories to tell, so I'll get my small shit out of the way. My friend Jim, he was on the show a while back, my voice actor friend Jim, he got a voice acting job. Not really allowed to talk details of it, but it's super cool, and he had to fly out to California this weekend to record some stuff, during this week. So he asked if I could cover his Quizzo show again. I used to host Quizzo, the bar trivia, like every week for years, and then we had kids, and I just stopped doing that because it's time consuming and whatnot. But it pays $200 a night, so and shit's brutally tight right now. So what the hell? I said sure, I will be your backup, and I did it once from a couple of weeks back at a local bar, and that was a good time. This one, though, was a weird situation. He was like, I need you to come with me so I can show you how this place works beforehand. So Monday night, I had to go out there with Jim, and we walked around this bar, and it's like a bar restaurant, and it's like super big, and I had to plug directly into their PA system, and it was just it was odd. I had to go into these like closets to adjust all these levels and whatnot. And then they also
twist some knobs.
Yeah, twist some knobs. They also give out gift cards between every round, which is wild. Ooh. Like, so
it's a lot of work.
Since they do that, there's lots of ties that have to be broken, and also a lot of people show up. So he was like, you should expect like at least 25 teams.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, which I think I had 26 teams when I did that show. But he was also going to do his regular show on Wednesday night and do the show, go home, sleep for an hour, then get on a plane out to California to do voice acting work. And on Wednesday morning, he was like, can you cover my Wednesday show too? Because this is a terrible plan. I was like, look, I need the money, so sure, let's do it. So I go on Wednesday night to cover him at JD's, and that night I had 28 teams.
Good God.
It was exhausting. It was fun, right? Because I get to listen to my own music, and I like doing the hosting thing. It's fun.
Sure.
But it's work, and I'm out of practice, and it was fucking exhausting. And at the very end, the final round question that was supplied to me was a little too vague, so I had people arguing about the answers, and it's not like I can give out more prizes. It's like,
right,
I have to find a way to pick a winner and make everyone be happy and fair. And fortunately, the team that lost was not the super uppity team that was really getting in my face trying to contest shit. Like, settle down, guys. It's just bar trivia. Like, there's only so much I can do. I didn't write all this stuff. I work for a company. It's settle down.
We're all going to be all right, guys. We're going to get through this together.
No, they need their $25 gift card to Dairy Queen.
But it was, 28 teams was a lot. That was really, really a lot to handle. But I had prepared ahead of time for the following night at this other bar because Jim said that was going to be the busy one, which I had, I think, 26 teams. And but I had Karen with me, so that went a lot smoother. But I also, about halfway through the night, realized why this place was so weird, right? We're giving out the gift cards, and the teams are getting kind of uppity about making sure that making sure that I'm counting all the scores right, and several teams came up and said, make sure you mark down which teams are using their double for each round. 'Cause some teams will cheat and try to use it more than once. So make sure, like, they were really on top of this. Like,
thanks, hall monitor,
team
Jim.
was like, and then I looked around.
Fucking narcs.
Everyone was white. There was not a single minority in the entire building except the busboys.
That sucks.
Yeah. And not to play into stereotypes, but wow.
I mean, we're all white. We can make fun of white people.
That's true. It was just like, it was a bunch of really uppity white rich people. And it was pretty wild.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. That's rough.
It was a night, but it was 2 nights of doing Quizzo. I had to push off recording Wave back. Yeah, it was nice to make an extra $400, and on August 1st, my bank account was still overdrawn. Like that's just where we're at right now. And I have like the gambler money. I have a decent chunk of that put aside, but John's getting braces, so that's what that's for. So I haven't transferred it to the bank account yet. We're just holding it there because John's we gotta pay, I don't know, like $850 or something up front, and then it's going to be like $100 a month for another year or so to pay for his braces.
That's fun.
Yeah, because everything's expensive, and like we didn't go nuts. We didn't have anything crazy happen this past month. It was, the worst I did was with the last $200 gig. I bought a $200 record player. Like, that was $200 extra, and Prime Day rolled around, and we needed a new record player because the old one was completely broken. So we decided to spend that $200 on a new record player. That's the most irresponsible thing we did. We spent our extra money on something. And
well, how dare you,
Chris? You crazy fuck.
I'm a crazy fuck indeed. That's wild. It's just fucking August 1st rolling around. The first thing I see in the morning is an email that says my bank account's overdrawn. Like, fuck. Fuck.
Not a good
we
feeling.
Don't live the lavish lifestyle. Yeah. Like, we went to the beach. Like, we don't order out food very often, if ever. Like, it's just, life is just too goddamn expensive. And this whole week was so exhausting. Like, between prepping for Quizzo, because I had to go through all the questions, and I like to have them make sure that they're written in sentences that make sense. Because they come kind of weirdly piecemeal, and just making sure all the tech works so I don't run into any difficulties there. One of my adapters broke, and Karen had to run out to JD's and bring me a replacement one. It's just a stressful fucking week, and I'm exhausted. Yeah, it was one of the days I brought the Ellie was supposed to go over to the neighbor's dad is in town, and he was taking them all to a pool, and then his dad got COVID, so he had to cancel all the plans. And so I volunteered to bring them to my mom's pool. So I wound up, that was my day. I took them over to my mom's pool, and everyone was fighting. It's like they all had a really good day the day before, so that means that the next day everyone's fighting. Like, Ellie and John are fighting, and the 2 next door neighbor girls are fighting, and it was just a miserable day. Even though they claimed they were having a blast, lots of fun was had, but still, it wasn't like everyone was in a great mood all day. It was 9 bajillion degrees outside, and I brought my laptop so I could work while they were in the pool, and even in front of fans in my mom's screen room, it was still just sweat dripping everywhere while I was trying to write. Ugh.
It's hot.
It's fucking heat wave. Why is there another heat wave?
I don't know, man.
Can we please?
I don't know.
I can't take this shit. I have a hard time sleeping at night. Like, I don't do well in the heat. And I didn't know we were having another 90-plus degree heat wave.
90 plus. It was fucking 98 today. The AC went out in my truck. So that's fucking cool. I'm just driving around.
So
in the heat wave, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. To cool it down, Yeah. Well, that sounds like a fucking week, Chris. I'm sorry.
It was indeed a week. I was also a little worried about a friend of mine.
Ah.
Yeah.
But, that's not on you. That's just me saying that I was concerned about you.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll tell you about it in a minute. What's going on with you, Dean?
Yeah, what's going on with you, Dean? I heard a little bit of Dean's story and was like, well, shit. That's fucking wild.
Yeah. So I think I told you guys a couple months ago I was having some issues with my
penis.
My penis. My lease. My lease for my apartment, because we weren't supposed to have dogs, even though everyone has dogs there. And we had 2 dogs now. And someone ratted us out, who I found out who it was. And oh man, if he wasn't an old, feeble man, I would have broken his back on my fucking knee and like drank
it would be easier because he's old.
I know. I could have just cracked him open and drank his marrow. I should have, but I didn't. So
Good God, that got dark.
Yeah, we got ratted out, and they were like, "Hey, get rid of the dogs, or you got to leave." And I was like, "No, I'm not getting rid of my dogs. I don't care if I'm in the wrong. Fuck you. I'm not getting rid of my dogs." So
get rid of my children?
Yeah.
Would you say the same thing, sir?
Yeah. So I'm very touchy with my fur baby. So I was like, all right, like, how are we going to do this? What's going to happen? So the plan was we were allowed to stay there till they rented it out. We never really discussed what would happen when they found someone, but I assumed at the bare minimum we'd be given at least 30 days to like get our shit out of there and clean up. So I got a notice a week ago, about a week and a half ago, that said, actually it wasn't a notice, it was an email, and it was like, hey, y'all gotta fucking go by the 1st, because we rented this out. And I was kind of like, Larissa, you need to call the leasing office, and you got to figure out what's going on. I can't move an entire apartment in a week. That's not possible. I'll die. And she was like, no, I'll call them. So she called them, and she just, I hear her arguing with them a little bit, and she just very defeated hangs up, and she's like, I think we're screwed. So I'm like, okay. I don't see how, because like squatters can fucking live in a place forever, and all I'm asking for is like an extra week, because on top of basically having 7 or 8 days to move out of somewhere, my friend was coming down for the week, which we had planned months ahead of time before this was even a thing. So I also had that going on. So yeah, it was fun. Long story short, I'm at my parents' right now, and we're living out of there for the time being, which is not a great thing, but at least it is a safe roof over our heads, and our dogs are happy because it's a pretty big ass house. So yeah, that was tough. I thought I was going to have a heart attack many times because we used no moving truck. No one was really available to help us, so it was mainly Larissa packing, and then we did have a couple of people help us on a day or two, but it was mainly just me picking up a lot of heavy things and moving them, which was fine for the first 3 days. But then after like day 4, day 5, day 6, and then day 7 hit, and I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna die now. I can't keep doing this. But somehow the Vest Lord just kept going. I just kept dragging my corpse up every single day and kept fucking going. But I'll tell you what, when that adrenaline ran out, I just fucking collapsed. My knees just gave out. They were in immense pain for like a full 24 hours. I was throbbing. And this was literally like 2 days ago when we finished. So yeah,
moving sucks.
It's been a bit of a thing. But amidst all this, because we didn't really have a place to go when the bottom fell out, we found a plot of land in a community, and we said fuck it. So we got a house being built, and we'll be moving in January. So yeah,
nice.
That's the upside. Now, what I'm doing for the next 5 to 6 months is kind of a crapshoot, and I'm gonna have to figure that out. But yeah, man, it's been wild. I am extremely exhausted still, but yeah, things are on the up and up now. I'm through the worst of it. So it's just, I'm still coming down from the craziness.
That sucks, dude.
Yeah, it was wild. Because I was originally gonna fight it because I was like, there's no way this is legal. And then someone told me to ask on Reddit because like I don't know anyone who really knows any like realty law. And I went to the there's like a tenant Reddit and also like a law Reddit. And I asked, and someone was like, no, they really only have to realistically give you 7 days. So I was like, well, fuck. Okay, cool. So yeah, I had to do what I had to do. It was rough, but I'm happy now that I'm on a podcast. I forgot that this was this week. So when you sent me a message a little earlier, I was like, holy shit, I need to put a computer together and get going. So yeah. But I'm happy I'm here. I'm happy things are gonna start being better. But it was a rough week. That was like walking through thorn bushes for 7 straight days.
Well, that fucking sucks, dude.
Yeah, but
But at the same time, it's gonna get a lot better. You got land.
Yes,
that's a big deal.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just I'm still coming down from the bad, but the good is coming, and it's a nice house, or what we've seen, because we bought towards like the end of the community being built, so there's a lot of stuff already there that we got to like look at and everything. The price was right. So it's everything seemed just good, and my parents very graciously helped with the down payment, so our mortgage won't be insane. So yeah, there's there's a lot of good things. So I mean, fuck what they say about boomers. Sometimes they can be generous. they can give out, man. It's not all of them are bad. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy for the future, and So let's keep the scale sliding, Dan. What do you got?
Last week I came on the podcast and I was like, the doctor said that I would know by Friday what type of what the results were of the cervical biopsy that I had, and I did not know what the results of the biopsy were, and it was just like, I mean, just every step of the way, right? It started in the middle of May when I was like, all right, these lymph nodes are swollen, everybody's sick, fine, and then 10 days later it was like, these lymph nodes are still swollen. I'm going to go to the urgent care. And the urgent care was like, hey, it might be cancer, but we're going to give you antibiotics. And it was the worst case scenario. It was like, well, the antibiotics didn't work, so now you got to go to the doctor. And then they were like, we're going to do an ultrasound. And it was like, okay, well, the ultrasound, anything smaller than 2 centimeters is not cancerous. Yours are 4 centimeters. Well, fuck. That's worse. Okay, let's do the next thing. Not only is it in your neck, but it's under your collarbone, it's in your armpits, blah, blah. So, like, every single step along the way, the fucking needle biopsy didn't work. So every single step along the way has been the worst possible outcome that it could be. And on Monday, it was like 1:30, and I still hadn't heard from the doctor's office. And so I'm freaking out, right? So I called them, and I was like, dude, I don't even care, like, whoever reads the results. I know they're back. I called the hospital Monday morning, and they were like, we'll get a message over to the doctor's office to call you. So when I called them at 1:30, I was like, I talked to the hospital this morning. What's going on? And the guy that I was talking to was like, the doctor told me to tell you that it is lymphoma, which is what we suspected. I said, okay, fine. Can you tell me anything more than that? And he was like, you have your appointment with your oncologist on Thursday. That's when they're going to go over typing, all of that different stuff. So, okay, fine. So it's lymphoma. So at that point, I didn't know whether or not it was Hodgkin's lymphoma or non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. There's 2 different types. What I knew at that point was that it was not cancer that had metastasized from somewhere else in my body. So that was good. And it wasn't adult onset leukemia, which, while still both of those conditions are still treatable and workable, they are much more difficult to deal with than a lymphoma, specifically a Hodgkin's lymphoma. So go to the oncologist on Thursday. Very, very nice guy. And he comes in and he, starts talking to me. He's like, all right, before we get started, I want you to know you have classic Hodgkin lymphoma, which is curable. And I was like, that's a bold statement, doc, because, you're a doctor, and most doctors will say it's treatable. It is, with medicines, whatever. He was like, it is classic Hodgkin lymphoma. It is curable.
Can Hodgkin you not lymphoma. Say classic, though? Like, Coca-Cola is classic. Fucking Hodgkin's lymphoma is not classic.
It's not new Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Right, yeah. If it was new Hodgkin's.
Crystal. It's not even diet.
That would be awesome. Oh, it gets so much better, though. So the reason it's classic Hodgkin lymphoma is because there are two types of Hodgkin's lymphomas.
Not your classic is in black and white.
Yes. No, there are two types of Hodgkin lymphoma. There's classic Hodgkin's lymphoma, and there is nodular lymphocyte predominant Hodgkin lymphoma. Okay.
What?
Yes.
So, is that a dinosaur?
Yes. Okay, keep going.
It is.
We're good.
Okay. There used to be a bunch of subclassifications for Hodgkin's lymphoma. They really don't pay attention to those anymore, like large this thing or that. It used to have a bunch of different names depending on what exactly was being affected. But they really don't, the doctor was saying they really don't do that anymore because you treat Hodgkin's lymphoma kind of the same no matter what. He did say, and this is where I started laughing in the room where it's me and Tiff and a doctor, my oncologist, talking about my cancer, and the nurse that is going to be really the person I'm going to talk to most of the time. The doctor's there to be like, this test, that test, this medicine, and then the nurse makes everything happen because nurses are amazing people. I legit started laughing because he said your lymph node came back positive for the Epstein-Barr virus. Okay, so in about half of the cases of Hodgkin's lymphoma, about half of those cases are caused by, we think, or at least certainly influenced by, the Epstein-Barr virus. Now, the Epstein-Barr virus is a virus you get, and a lot of people do have it in their bodies. But the Epstein-Barr virus comes from, and I'm quoting here, infection with EBV occurs by the oral transfer of saliva and genital secretions.
Bro, did you fuck Epstein?
So Tiff looks at me and she goes, do you have cancer? In front of the doctor. She's like, are you telling me that you have cancer because of how you slept your way through high school and college? And I looked at the doctor and I was like, are you telling me I have slut cancer? And he was like,
nice.
I mean, no, but kind of. And I was like, and I fucking lost it. I thought that was just the funniest fucking thing. So
I can call you a dirty
cancer.
Whore. All right.
Yes, 100%. And Tiff was just like, she's shaking her head, and I looked at her, and I was like, I wouldn't change a thing. Fucking, so we're here now, and I have classic Hodgkin's lymphoma, and the treatment plan. Now, the treatment plan will not start to the end of this month. Because I have to get a bunch of other tests done first, because going through chemotherapy can cause some issues with other systems in your body, right? Like you are literally poisoning yourself by going through this process. So I have to go get a pulmonary test and an EKG, and I had to have a ton of blood work that's done before, and I have to have a skull through thigh PET scan so that they can see where all the infected lymph nodes are. And I'm trying to get that one done before I have to go for the bone marrow biopsy, because if I don't get that done before the bone marrow biopsy, they have to go in and try to take some blood and cells and bone marrow out of one of my bones. And that sounds painful. They go in through your back. And that's not a thing I necessarily want to do if I don't have to, right? Because there is a chance that it's my lymph nodes and my bone marrow. Doesn't change the prognosis, doesn't change the treatment, basically just changes the staging. I am at stage 3 currently without knowing about anything else. I'm at stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma. And it is only normally when you talk about staging with cancers, the higher the number gets, the scarier it becomes. And that is also sort of true in this case too, but it's not entirely the same. The lymphoma is classified stage 3, potentially stage 4, depending on the location and if it is on both sides of the diaphragm. So because mine is on both sides of the diaphragm, I am automatically stage 3. Like, that's just where you start.
What you're telling me is cancer is a Souls-like game. Mm-hmm. The higher the level, the more difficult it gets. When do you get the crazy armor, though, Dan? When?
Well, so the treatment is going to be 6 months of chemotherapy every other week. So every other week, and we're aiming for Wednesdays, because according to everybody, the worst days recovering from chemotherapy are the 3rd and 4th day. So if I get the chemotherapy on a Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, I go to work, no problem. Saturday and Sunday suck, right? And then Monday still kind of sucks, but I get up and we're good. And that happens every other week for 6 months. My hair is going to fall out. Like all of that stuff is going to happen. They're going to insert a port under my clavicle so that the infusions of chemotherapy that I get, they don't have to like tap a vein every time, because it's not really the best way to do it. Installing a port is. So I will have this port placed into my body for the next 2 years. And the reason that it stays for 2 years, even though the treatment's only 6 months, is that a lot of times stuff comes back. You know, doesn't mean anything, doesn't mean like you're going to die. It just means we're still fighting, and 6 months after you get the all clear, you got to go through another round of whatever. So instead of going through another procedure to reinstall a port, they just kind of leave it in for 2 years. And at that point, once the port comes out, you're good. My doctor was very confident. He was, like I said, the first words out of his mouth were, "This is curable." So that's where we're at. In a sea of shit that has been the last 3 months, July, the last like 2.5, 3 months. In a sea of shit, this is about the best possible outcome I could have hoped for. It is not leukemia. It's not non-Hodgkin's. It is what we have been doing as a people, as a medical society. What has been done the best is this particular type of cancer. So, knock on wood, it's going to be all right. It's going to suck. And I'm going to look like an absolute monster without eyebrows. But, I can work. I just can't, the biggest concern is infection. So if I go out in public, I will be under COVID restrictions basically for the next 6 months. I will be masked. I will, disinfectant and don't fucking touch me and whatever. But I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, that's a good thing, man.
I'm going to be okay. And I knew I was going to be okay at the beginning of this. I did. You have those moments of like, well, what if it is pancreatic cancer that spread to my lymph nodes? That means I got like months left at this point. But none of that, and I said it, talking about it a little while ago, none of that really ever made any sense because I just never had any symptoms of anything else. And I feel fine now. Like the only symptoms that I'm still I get my hands and feet get cold and I get tired really quickly. Like I had Katie mow the lawn earlier this week because I just can't do it anymore. Like my body just gets so fucking tired so quickly and my heart starts going crazy, beating super, super fast. And I'm really like, I'm not, like we have a hill in our front yard, but it's not a giant hill, but it just, that's where I'm at currently. What is happening to me are those two things. And, this is my
you
penance.
Figured out how to get your kids to do chores.
Yeah.
That's certainly true. I just had to get slut cancer and
probably shouldn't have taken this much to convince them to mow the lawn, but
probably not. Well, and I keep saying that to them too, like, cause it's fun for me. And I'll be like, I'll call up, I'll be like, kids, come on down. And they'll be like, what? I need you to take the dogs out. And they're like, ugh. I'm like, look, which of the two of us has cancer? Which of the two?
Opportunity
you or
to
me?
Be so insufferable to your kids.
Well, Tiff said that too. She was like, "Are you trying to be an asshole so that if we get like a really bad prognosis, I'm not going to miss you?" I was like, I mean, a little bit. I said to that the other day. Tiff lost her glasses like 2 weeks ago. Okay, they were under the bed. I knew where they were. Because of course that's where they were. She took them off. She went to take a nap. She took them off. She put them on her nightstand. And she woke up and she couldn't find her glasses. Well, where the fuck else would they be? Right? Like, there's not a lot of options here as to where the glasses are. The children didn't take them. None of the animals were wearing them. They were under the bed. And I was like, hun, they're under the bed. She was like, I looked under the bed. I said, you didn't fucking look. You look like the way when women comedians tell jokes about men, like sometimes you gotta move the milk. Like that's the way Tiff looks for things. That's also the way the children look for things.
Well, to be fair, she didn't have her glasses.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. That's a fair point. But like, after like 2 weeks of her walking around in like a backup pair of glasses and not being able to see, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm getting her glasses. And I moved the bed and I picked up the glasses from underneath the bed. I didn't even have to look. I just moved the bed. That was it. And we have like a big heavy sleigh bed, but like I pushed the bed out of the way. I picked up the glasses. I went in, took them to her job, gave her the glasses. And I was like, see, I can't die. I'm not allowed. You fuckers would be absolutely lost without me. Can't find glasses. Can't find anything behind the milk. You guys don't know how to mow the lawn or do laundry. Like, I failed you as a father terribly, but now that means I can't die. So I have to beat this cancer so I can continue to take care of all you fucking people.
Dirty Dan Ryan's
said, no,
not going
I can't
anywhere.
See, Dan, I didn't have my glasses.
So anyway, not to make light of anything, this is just the way I handle things, right?
Right. You got it.
It's slut cancer. How, for me, we're talking about me. That's what the doctor says. How am I not supposed to run with that?
You're not.
Like,
That's
now. Obviously, I didn't put it that way on Facebook because, like, my 80-year-old aunt would be like, "What? No, I'm not going to tell." Aunt Alice that I have slut cancer. You know.
I'll tell her if you want.
Fucking, I know you will. That's what I love about you, Dean.
Is that really what you
So
love
that's where
about
I'm
me?
at. That's one of the things. That and your giant
Best.
heart generosity. You should really get it looked at. It's bigger than it should be.
Yeah, yeah, it feels weird sometimes.
It's bigger than a regular hat. It's funny.
Don't do it.
Yeah. It's not my name. It's been a week, man. It's been a week because we were like, all right, we're going to the oncologist on Thursday. We're going to go see Deadpool and Wolverine on Wednesday because, like, I don't know. You know, I don't think he's going to give me bad news. Like I've been in a good mood and like feeling confident and all those things. But still, you know, there's a chance. So let's go see the movie, and we went and saw the movie, and I've played a fuck ton of Castlevania games this week.
Holy
you
shit,
started
me too!
your Castlevania thing.
I did, yeah.
What? Give me the rundown on how that's working. What are your criteria, and what have you played so?
So I'm playing through the 2D Castlevanias in storyline order.
Oh,
and really, that just came down to I don't have a good way to play Lament of Innocence on my television.
Is that the PS2 one?
Which is the yeah.
Okay.
But that's the first in the traditional canon storyline. That is the first game.
Is that
I don't have a good way to play that.
Is that like a good
Is
game?
it good?
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
it.
it was pretty good. Yeah.
Do you like Devil May Cry style games? Because it's that.
I mean,
it's not
with
as-
a little bit more of an exploratory element to it. You know,
It's not as hectic.
okay.
Yeah, it's definitely not as action heavy, and it does try to do a little bit more of the exploratory Castlevania stuff to it. It's been a long time since I've played it, but it was a pretty solid game.
My favorite stuff, admittedly, is the DS and GBA era of
right.
Oh,
those
sure.
games. Yeah.
Well, and
So I forget,
that's kind of
that being the earliest one in the timeline. That negates Castlevania Legends, correct? Like that's
the one.
that isn't so. There are two timelines. Castlevania, the N64 stuff is not.
That's not canon.
It's not canon.
Okay.
well, no. Legends is the Game Boy one. It was the Game Boy
right,
one.
yeah,
that was
that's also
was
not
supposed to be
canon.
the earliest in the series before they.
That one is not
stripped
canon.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so it goes Lament of Innocence, which I didn't start with that. So then it is Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse is the first 2D game in the timeline. And man, did I forget how fucking hard that game is.
Oh yeah,
That game's really, really hard. Like, and there's a lot of that game.
Abused the shit out of save states when I played through that last.
There's so much of that game that is just unfun and unfair.
You said 2, right?
Like
Three.
3. Okay, yeah, no, three's, yeah.
Like
it's great.
those,
It's
great.
It's such a cool
really
game.
well done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
But
those
it's also
clock
a
tower stages
bastard.
can also just go get. I mean, the clock tower stages, basically in any Castlevania game, can go ahead and get
Bat-D.
fucked. But god damn it, because I also decided. Now this is me being stupid about it, but I played as Trevor. I did not switch to any other character. Because I wanted just in my decision was, I'm going to play through these as the Belmonts.
That's kind of cool.
I've never gotten through Castlevania 3 just using Trevor. I always switch to, Sifa or Grant or Alucard, whoever I happen to get that particular playthrough or kept that particular playthrough. This time I got Sifa and just stayed as Trevor. And fuck, the Grim Reaper battle in that one is so hard. But it's a great game. Like, it's really, really good. So, next up in the timeline is Curse of Darkness, which is also PlayStation 2. That's also 3D.
Or
So I'm
Xbox.
skipping over that one. Or Xbox. Sorry, you're right. Or
like
Xbox.
original Xbox?
Yeah, that was also on original Xbox. Line of Innocence is PS2 exclusive, but
Hector and Isaac, also a pretty cool game. Like I like that one.
Yeah, but there's no Belmont in that one, right? Like so
there's no Belmont.
You couldn't play through that one as a Belmont, even if you wanted.
Right.
So this is so Curse of Darkness is a 3D one.
Curse of Darkness is 3D. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but that's the last
3D.
time. Yeah, that's the last time that comes up.
Okay.
So the next game I went through Castlevania 3, then Castlevania the Adventure.
Yeah, I was going to say you're moving on to
that's
Christopher and
that's
Solio,
Game Boy, right?
Solio, or whatever the hell his kid's name is.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I like how every Belmont's got a relatively normal-ish name, except Christopher's kid is Soliol or Soliu or whatever.
Yeah, Soliol. Yeah. The English translation is Soliel, except in the end credits, they still call him Soliu for whatever fucking reason, because nobody paid attention back then. Castlevania the Adventure is fine. It's I don't think it's dog shit. I don't.
Two different terms there?
It's fine. It's fine.
A mediocre game at best that is elevated extremely by its soundtrack, because its soundtrack is fucking amazing.
It is. It's really, really good. What's nice about it, so it controls like shit. We all know this. But it's short.
You can climb ropes.
That's the best part, is that it's short.
Giant rolling eyeballs.
Yeah, I don't mind the giant eyeballs.
I think they're awesome.
Yeah,
so you went with that one. I'm curious, like, as far as things counting as canon, right? Because like Castlevania the Adventure Rebirth is effectively telling the same story, and is a much better game. But I have to assume, do you have a way of playing that one?
I do. Yeah, I do. I didn't because, and it's also why I decided to go back, which I'll explain in a second, why I decided to go back and play the first NES Castlevania as well. So I did Castlevania the Adventure. Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge, which is also on the Game Boy, is the next one.
Legitimately.
Which is also, it's fine. It's short. I like the Mega Man style of picking the bosses.
Right. Yeah.
I thought that's pretty cool. I don't love the fight with Soliel. It's okay. It's a little cheap.
I just think the levels in that game work so much better than the Adventure. I feel like that game
you can slide down the rope, and that makes it a fuck ton better.
Less of a slog. There aren't pixel perfect super slow jumps all over the place.
Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit
Adventure where you've got to make those little brick to brick jumps, and then you miss one, you have to walk all the way back, which I guess with save states isn't a problem, because that's when I played through that on the Castlevania collection. I immediately I'm not doing this twice. Fuck you. No way.
Yeah, for Adventure, eventually, about halfway through Dracula's Curse, and then right away with Adventure, every screen I fucking save stated. Because I was like, I'm just not... I don't love this game enough to get really good at it. I'm just going to get through it. Because it's cool, and it's Castlevania. But it's fine. So then, I decided to go off, and I was like, all right, well, next up is the original Castlevania. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to do Super Castlevania, because that's
the same story.
It's essentially the same story. And I decided, I played through that. I finished that today, and I fucking love that game. Man, do I love that game.
Brilliant.
It's so good. It's so good. The way Simon controls in that game is just so fucking outstanding. I love it so much. The Mode 7 shit is still cool. You get to that room and the fucking wall starts spinning. It's this is fucking dope. I love this. I like the Grim Reaper fight in that one. It's not as hard. The Grim Reaper is, for my money, probably the hardest boss in any video game Like, every time he shows up, it's, fuck, he's so much harder than Dracula. God damn it. At least I feel. But I was like, all right. So I played through Super Castlevania 4, and I was like, you know what? The next game on the list is Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. And I don't want to go right from Super Castlevania all the way, like, jumping back in time, you know, to, like, lesser controls with a game I don't know as well. Which is the same reason that I went with Adventure instead of Rebirth. Because going from 3 to Adventure back to Castlevania 2 Belmont's Revenge, that, you know, like, jumping play styles, I want to get through the action stuff quickly, because it's not my favorite part of Castlevania. So,
fair.
After I finished Super Castlevania today, I have talked about my love of the original Castlevania. I'm very good at the original Castlevania. It does not take me very long to get through. It's not a super long game to begin with. But I can get through that in a sitting. So I was like, all right, before I watch this wackadoo TV show that I got to watch for tonight's episode, I'm going to go back and I'm going to play the NES Castlevania. And that's the last one that I finished today. And for my money, I know a lot of people will argue that 3 is the best of the NES. I still think the first one is.
I heartily agree.
I really do. Like,
first one's
after
a great
having just
game.
played through them again, it's nowhere near as unfair as 3 is. I love the bosses more. I love the level design, the music. It's just everything about that game I fucking adore. So I finished that today. Tomorrow I will start Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. And then it gets a little interesting after that, because so after Simon's Quest, it goes Harmony of Dissonance. Okay. So that's Just Belmont. And then it jumps back to Rondo of Blood, then Symphony of the Night, then Order of Ecclesia. Then we get Bloodlines, Portrait of Ruin, Aria of Sorrow, and Dawn of Sorrow. So it kind of jumps forward to the Metroidvania stuff, then takes a little bit of a detour with Bloodlines, and then is fully back to the Metroidvania stuff. Which is what I like. That's what I love.
So
might I recommend?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, if you get a chance, and I don't know if you have the capability to, I would recommend subbing out the Rondo of Blood for Dracula X Chronicles on the PSP, because that's a really, really good version of that game.
It is so that is officially part of the alternate continuity.
Oh,
okay,
did not know that.
So the alternate continuity that most people, and this is as when I say official, I air quotes around the word.
Wait,
official.
Dean, are you talking about the 3D polygonal remake for PSP?
Yeah,
right. Because that's just a remake of Rondo of Blood. I think what's the alternate timeline is the Dracula X for Super Nintendo.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, I thought it was just a remake, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so yeah. So the alternate timeline is Adventure Rebirth, then Super Castlevania 4, Order of Shadows, Dracula X, Circle of the
Order
Moon.
of Shadows, really?
Yeah.
The fucking mobile game with the redheaded dude?
Yeah.
You can't even play it anymore?
Let's throw it in!
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can if you try. Then Dracula X, Circle of the Moon, Legacy of Darkness, and then 64, and that's it. Yeah. So the last
Circle
one
of the Moon's a really fun one. That's a
bummer. Circle of the Moon doesn't count.
It is. Yeah, but
that game's a blast. I've played through that multiple times.
And I'll probably play through that. So I think I'm going to do, once I get to the Metroidvania stuff, those are certainly going to take longer to get through. Not a ton longer, but like I said, I can beat the first Castlevania in a sitting. I can't beat Aria of Sorrow in one sitting. Like, that'll take a little bit of time. But once I get through those, I might move on to Guacamelee, and then maybe I'll jump back to, like, you know, some of these alternate ones. Or maybe I'll move on to something else. I don't know. All depends. But I am really enjoying going through these games. I just fucking love them, man. I just love them. And I think I realized, and this is maybe a bit weird, and I think subconsciously I didn't realize I was doing it, but this kind of grew out of my desire to play through the Metroid games again. And I don't really do that a lot, right? Like, I don't go back and play through an entire game series. And Tiff and I were talking about it, and she was like, do you think you wanted to play through Metroid as somewhat of an allegory to not being able to fight your cancer yet? And I was like, fuck, maybe? That's deep and weird, but yeah, like, that sounds right. Like, why this sudden obsession with man? I was like, that kind of makes sense, you know, of like, I can't be eradicating this fucking life-sucking disease monster right now, but I can do it as Samus. And now that I have, you know, and that's great, and now that I have the diagnosis and I know what I'm going to do, now I'm just going to play Castlevania because it's fucking fun.
All right. Well, yeah, I did want to point out that on our Castlevania ranking, we ranked Castlevania 3 decently higher than Castlevania 1.
I know we did. Because it's a better game.
Yeah.
I'm 100% Castlevania 1
I like
more.
Castlevania 1 better, and I don't remember if we specifically said that, but I definitely like Castlevania 1 better than 3. But I'm looking at Castlevania...
We fucking make a lot of shit up.
Castlevania 1 was down at 11, and Castlevania 3 is all the way up at 6.
What's in
I think
between
it's a little rough of Castlevania 1, 11? Wow, that's high.
Let's see. Castlevania, then above it was Castlevania Chronicles, then Lords of Shadow, then 4, then Portrait of Ruin, then 3.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that still.
Yeah, as far as just objective quality, as far as which ones I like better.
Yeah. Right, trying to take everything into consideration, which we do. Yeah. Most of the time when we do these kinds of ranking things, objectively 3 is a better game. It's a deeper game. It's more interesting. The graphics are better. It has more playable. All of those things. All of those things are there. I just happen to love Castlevania 1.
I'd rather play the first one.
And there are a lot of people that disagree with us, and there are a lot of people that think that game is fucking cheap and impossible, and it is. The
first one?
But we just know it so well. You know what I mean? Like, I was playing through today, and I restarted on Dracula a couple of times just because I wanted to see if I could get a no damage run in.
I cannot.
And I would get to the bat monster, and he would hit me once, and I gave up eventually. Like, I can get past Dracula's like human form, no problem. That's pretty easy. You know, he opens the cape, you jump and sled. Like that's fine. And I didn't want to do the holy water trick for the monster form, right?
Oh, to
because
freeze
if you have if you have enough holy waters, you just keep chucking holy waters at him and he doesn't move. Like, okay, that's not really a no damage run. You know what I mean? And I couldn't do it. Like, I got hit, 2-3 times, whatever it was. But I'm fine with that. I've played through that game so many fucking times that it's whatever. I just love it.
I streamed that game. It was an incredible experience. And I don't think it was that hard. Like, yeah, it's challenging for sure, but there's, pattern memorization there and stuff. And don't get me wrong, since I was doing it on stream, I don't think I did Dracula with holy water, but I definitely did Death with holy water.
I refuse not to.
Yeah, he was a pain in the ass, man.
He is. I like that fight though. If you go into the Grim Reaper fight with Death, with the triple boomerang, like if you've got that, you're fucking golden. Like it's super simple, But yeah,
I mean,
they're really good games.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear more about this, Dan.
I'm ready for a new Castlevania. I still think there's a way to do. I don't think it's been done quite as well as it could be in 3D yet.
I think it's been a long time.
I think
3D action games have come a long way since the original Xbox, and that's the last time we got. I mean, granted, the Lords of Shadow, but that was kind of a different animal.
Different game, yeah.
It is, and I like Lords of Shadow. Like, it's cool. Well,
I played to, I think, the genre strengths at the time, because there's, like, a lot of quick-time events, a lot of those big set-piece boss fights and stuff, and they're cool. For the time, like, really, really cool game. But, I mean, thinking back on it, I played almost all the way through the first one, and I can't remember much about it. Like, it doesn't stick out. I remember, some details to be like, oh, yeah, that was neat, but not much else.
I mean,
there were two of those, right?
Yeah, well, three technically. Yeah. There was a 2D one,
3DS.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
was that any good?
I heard it was pretty
fine.
Good.
It's fine.
It was basically the prototype for what became Samus Returns, and then they kind of perfected in. This was what Mercury Steam did before they got hired to do Metroid.
Oh, that's fucking really cool. Then I gotta see if I can get that somewhere. Then
it's neat going back to it now to look at it with that lens of like, okay, so this is how we got to where we eventually made it with Dread, because this was before they had, they've gone on record saying they learned so much from Nintendo while making Samus Returns, right? Because that's kind of the way Nintendo handles these kinds of these projects, is they will quality control the shit out of you. And they learned a lot from that, and it's neat to see how they got there. And looking back at, what is it, Lords of Shadow? Oh, what the hell's the name of that game? Closet of Justice or some weird shit like that.
Yeah, we'll call it Closet of Justice.
100% Closet of Justice. I think I have the fucking box for it in here. So, I don't know. I'm really excited to get to Castlevania Judgment. That's really what what I'm excited for.
Oh, God.
I'll go back for the alternate timeline playthrough, and we'll do a little Castlevania Judgment, little Harmony of Despair. Maybe a little
Dracula. Cool, though. Can you even play that anymore?
Probably not. Right, because that's all multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
the one on... Was that the Xbox Live one?
Yeah. That was a cool
I remember
game.
that.
I wish they would bring that back.
There's probably a way to fake like a private server.
List?
No. Judgment was far from last on our list. Last was Order of Shadows. Because Order of Shadows is a piece of trash. Order of Shadows is a nigh unplayable, soundless piece of garbage. Then it was Haunted Castle, which is also
that's real bad.
Fucking atrocious. That game is offensive.
Really yeah, that game sucks. Sucks butt.
Judgment was up to 28, actually. I'll just run through the list.
There's so many Castlevania
Order
games.
of Shadows, Haunted Castle, The Adventure, Legends, Grimoire of Souls. Really? That made it up that high? I would revisit that. Grimoire of Souls, if I'm remember. Oh no, that was the 2019 mobile game. That was kind of a piece of shit. I don't know why that's
it's not great.
Then 64, Judgment, Puzzle, Encore of the Night, Vampire Killer from SX, Legacy of Darkness, Kid Dracula, Lords of Shadow 2, Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate, or Closet of Justice, whatever it was.
Closet of Justice, yes.
Harmony of Despair, Simon's Quest, Belmont's Revenge, Curse of Darkness, Dracula X for Super NES, Bloodlines, Lament of Innocence, Adventure Rebirth, Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, the original game, Chronicles, Lords of Shadow, Super 4, Portrait of Ruin, Dracula's Curse, Rondo of Blood, Dawn of Sorrow, Order of Ecclesia, Aria of Sorrow, and Symphony of the Fuck-Mothering Night.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with all that. And it's hard, right? Because
sometimes how do you rank puzzle,
Yeah, well, and when we do those lists, right, at least for me, I don't go back and play through every single game start to finish, right? I go back and I watch YouTube playthroughs and I try to remember.
Going through our recollection.
And playing through the games like in order the way that I'm doing is certainly going to influence things, recency bias and all of those. Like, nothing's going to take Symphony of the Night out of the top spot.
It's going to take something real special to knock Symphony of the Night off my top spot. It's one of the best games I've ever played in my life.
It really is. And fucking Dawn is close.
Oh my god. Dawn of Sorrow is so goddamn good.
It's real close.
We wound up putting Aria in second, and I feel like I remember that being a conversation with us because I think I liked Dawn better, and I think you liked Aria better, and I was okay with conceding that point. They're both like so, Aria,
this whole top
Dawn.
Bit. They're
Aria,
really
Dawn,
close.
Order of Ecclesia, like all three of those games are so close.
They're so fucking good. Anyway,
Castlevania is great.
So that's where I'm at. Castlevania is great. It's time for a new Castlevania.
It very much is. I'll go real quick because I don't have much. I barely played anything this week. I put maybe like 20 minutes to a half an hour into Nintendo World Championships, and I got I beat another couple levels in Super NES Sparkster, which I really can't believe I haven't finished it yet,
nice.
But that's just how little time I've had. Super NES Sparkster it's better than Genesis Sparkster, in my opinion. I think by a decent margin, but it's problematic on a different level. It's like the game just doesn't seem designed to have the camera that zoomed in. There's so much like insta-death happening right off screen, and it's super annoying. And it's especially super annoying because of how good mechanically the game is. Like it feels just like Rocket Knight Adventures on Genesis, but it's got a bit more variety than the Genesis game. It's got that top-down shooting segment, which is super cool. It's got that great soundtrack. I think I like the soundtrack overall on Sparkster for Super Nintendo better than Genesis, even though like the title song I like better the Genesis version. But that song gets used way later in the Super Nintendo game, and it's almost as good. But the instrumentation of the Genesis one I like better. But all in all, that first game is so good, even though it's full of like cheap Garbo deaths. But it's still like it's classic Konami cheap Garbo deaths. So it's like it really works. But its sequels just did not live up. And as many times as I've tried, I've not gotten very far in the Xbox Live Arcade / PS3 version because I just don't like it very much. And
it's just not a great game.
Mike tells me I should give it more of a shot. He says it's actually pretty good, and maybe after I'm done with Sparkster, I will. But I don't know. It's still a really good collection. I've been listening to the soundtrack a bunch, which is fun because I bought the vinyl set off of a limited run because I was a goober at the time,
right?
And I was like, no, I have to have this, even though I already have Rocket Knight Adventures on vinyl from that was a gift. And a very, very much appreciated one. It's like, well, this one's also got the Sparkster stuff in there. And the new pressing from Limited Run has a couple of the jingles on there that aren't on the Ship to Shore pressing. And it's also got the new songs that they did for the menu system in the collection added on there, there's just two songs. But they're really good, and one of them is the best song from Sparkster redone with modern instrumentation. So, like, yeah, it's just a big fat win all around. It's awesome. That's it.
Yeah, love that. Love when a collection is not whatever the fuck they're doing with Arrow the Acrobat.
Oh my god. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I do have to talk about one thing. I have to talk about this. I got a new TV this week. I didn't buy a new TV. My old TV that's part of my set here in the basement died. So the remainder of my budget for video production stuff went to getting me a new TV. So I picked out a new TV that was decently enough in my budget through Stone Age Gamer. And it's a new Samsung television. And I'm having some weird issues with it. On one hand, I thought the picture, out of the box, the picture was awful. I thought it was hollow. All the whites were super washed out. It was dreadful looking. It also had that super smoothing effect added onto it, that new TVs have by default. That. I despise that. Oh,
it's so weird.
It makes me want to throw up, so I turned that off right away. Felt a lot better about my life once I did that. But I could not get the picture to look decent. Then I switched over to the Switch. Again, I didn't love the picture. However, this is the first modern because the TV that died in my basement was from 14 years ago. And
right, you said it was a plasma screen?
It was a plasma screen Panasonic that I got for my 30th birthday. And then the TV that's upstairs in the living room was an RCA that I got on Black Friday from ShopRite. And it has quote-unquote game mode, but this TV has actual game mode. I was able to... all the problems that I had been having playing NSO games with input lag, they went away when I was playing on this new television. I was like, holy shit. I played a couple of things on Nintendo World Championships that were giving me problems. S-ranked them just like that. It's like, oh,
nice.
Well, shit. It was my TV. It was my shitty old TV that's not even that old, but it was my shitty TV that was causing me these problems. And in actual game mode, this really changes the way things feel, which is awesome. But I still haven't been able to get the picture looking very good in game mode. I've gotten looking pretty good, but I was able to get it looking great on TV mode. But it's just it's an entirely different thing when it switches over to game mode. Like, it detects the switch just like that, and it's like, now you're in game mode, and it just looks kind of wrong. I'm still fiddling with it. I think I'll get there, but you have fewer options as far as adjusting the visuals when you're in game mode, because the priority is what's going to give you the highest refresh rate.
Right.
So that's kind of annoying, but at the same token, yay, free TV. And
yeah, I mean,
it's hard to complain about that. Yeah, it's definitely not nothing. So it's fun to be able to do that, and it's also fun that I have that accessible for. This is the TV that I talked about from ages ago that was struck by lightning. When our neighborhood got struck by lightning, it fried all the HDMI ports. So I haven't been able to use the main TV in my basement setup for recording me playing games on an HD TV. I've always had to pull out this little tiny thing to plug into it, because hooking up anything through HDMI on that plasma TV was problematic, to say the least. I had this weird converter box thing that changed component signal into HDMI into component, and it was a mess. It was a mess, but it's gone now. It's out of my life, and game mode on new TV is super cool. Kind of changed things around a bit for me. I also really like how quickly it starts up and shuts down, because for a while there, HD TVs were doing this thing where they had really long startup times, which pissed me off.
Yeah.
Like, my parents got this Sony TV that would go through a whole Sony startup screen, and the TV
because we give a fuck.
Yeah, I give a shit who made my TV. I want it to turn on when I turn it on, and that was the RCA that I got from ShopRite. Same situation. It would just kind of it would go through this startup sequence for a good 30 seconds before you could actually do anything with the TV, and that's not exaggerating. You got to sit there for a good 30 seconds of waiting for it to boot up and showing the dogs and the RCA symbol and everything. It's like, okay, this new Samsung thing, on and off like nothing. And it does the cool little, mimicking a CRT kind of, it turns into a line and then shrinks into a dot in the middle.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That's fun.
Yeah, so that's neat. I just didn't, I hate the way that the game mode looks, and I'll probably get used to it, because I feel like I remember hating the way this RCA looked when I got it, and I eventually just kind of got used to it, so maybe I will. I have also noticed that specifically in Nintendo World Championships, the gameplay is fuzzy. It's controlling better, but the actual screen that's showing you the gameplay of the NES games that you're playing is not fully in focus like when you're playing the games on NSO, which I think is really strange. And I have not I haven't hooked it up to my old TV yet to see if that's still the case
Is that like
a...
You have the Switch outputting in like 480 or whatever?
No, because everything else is in super high definition.
Okay.
Like this, because when we play Nintendo World Championships, there's like a whole big HUD everywhere. And then the screen inside the middle is where they're showing what NES game you're playing. And that's like weirdly out of focus, but everything else is crystal clear.
Huh.
And like, you leave that and go into NSO and they're crystal clear. It's kind of weird. It's almost like they have a filter on it. I hadn't noticed it before, and I gotta look into that. But that was my week.
That sounds like a Dean question.
Getting a new television and just spending way too much time dicking with the settings, trying to get it to look pretty. And yeah, that's been my week.
So I'm saying that's a Dean question, Chris. Dean is a younger man. That is a young man's game. We are very rapidly approaching the can somebody please help me program my fucking VCR?
Game mode. You just do it.
Okay.
I did. Well, were you not listening?
Dean said, "Nut the fuck up, you little bitch." That was his response right there.
Get good.
Get good. Thanks for your help, Dean.
You're welcome.
Yeah, maybe it's your glasses. Have you tried having eyes that work?
Yeah, that does help.
That might be better.
Have you just tried doing the game but better?
Have you tried not being blind? I don't know. If I was blind, I'd probably try to learn how to see or something.
I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true. I mean, look, TVs are finicky, man. So you're saying you're largely upset with the picture quality?
Only in game mode now. I got it looking great in TV mode, but when it switches to game mode,
it changes the color, right?
It's like the whites are kind of overbearing. They're kind of washing things out, and I'm losing detail because the whites are so thoroughly bright.
Do you have like a color adjustment setting that you can also do on top of game mode, or like if you do the color adjustment, does it take it out of whatever mode it's in?
I can do some of that, but I can't get it. There's only so much adjusting that the TV will allow me to do in game mode, right? It turns off a bunch of the thing. The thing that I did that made the normal mode look great is grayed out when it's in game mode. So there is a degree of like white level settings that I can go through. I was trying to mess with that for a while because there's a lot of different toggles that I can mess with, but I couldn't see much of a difference whenever I was messing with them. So I haven't spent the extra time to get there quite yet. Right now, I think the picture quality is okay in game mode. And again, I can't stress this enough. The picture quality, when I say is okay in game mode, is it looks great with modern games.
Wait, what's the resolution of the TV? Is it 4K?
Yeah, it's 4K.
Well, so
modern 3D games look great.
Okay.
It's when I go back to playing retro games, and I'm also, I think part of this is in my own head because it's the Switch menu. And the Switch menu is not the highest resolution thing in the world.
No, and I mean, the Switch only outputs at, I think, max 720?
That's in handheld. It goes up to 1080p in docked.
I mean, even then, Chris, like that's a huge downgrade. Like, and you're stretching that out to 4K, so it's definitely going to be. There's nothing to fix that, unfortunately. Well, no, there are things to fix it, but they're way too expensive, and it's silly.
Games like modern games look great,
and they have the capability to. But
so when I'm playing like Breath of the Wild or something, or anything that is a new Switch game looks great. It's when I play the retro stuff on the Switch, sometimes it's not looking great.
Well, yeah, because they make things for that, for like, I'm sure they sell things like that on Stone Age Gamer, upscalers and things like that to really sharpen a picture.
I'm sure I could mess with the M Classic or something like that. Although,
but like, how crazy do you want to get, you know?
I don't really. I just need to get a straw and suck it up. And I'm pretty sure that when the next Switch platform comes out, this is just going to be a non-issue.
I will say though,
that'll be made.
I don't know. Nintendo's probably going to make that at 480i.
That's true.
Like, no, that's good enough.
I hope you have a CRT. We're going to make new Nintendo CRTs.
I would be honestly interested to see what the M Classic would do, because I've heard of that thing. I know what it does, and I think it's a simple solution, almost too simple. So I'd like to know your thoughts and input on it if you ever get your hands on one. I
did get my hands on one a long time ago, and I couldn't see a damn bit of difference. On any TV in my house, I didn't see any difference. But I wasn't using a crazy 4K TV. I was still just using a regular HD TV. But I couldn't spot any difference with that thing. Maybe it might be time for a new resampling, especially with a 4K TV. That might be a big difference. Might be.
Yeah. Well, you never know.
So, Dean, what have you been playing? We're already cooking a little bit late here, and we've got a lot of week-old news. So what do you got?
I'll talk about the one game I played that I really, really liked was Dungeons of Hinterberg, which was a free Xbox Game Pass game. I think it's $40 new otherwise. So the plot of the game is magic came to the Swiss Alps, and the town that the magic kind of erupted around and these dungeons sprouted out from, the town turned it into a theme park where you can travel to and have adventures with guides and slay things and complete all these cool dungeons and get gear and all that. And you're this girl who wants to get away from her shitty paralegal job. I think she's like about to be a lawyer or just started being a lawyer, and she's not feeling it. So she comes here to kind of like find herself and check out everything. And it ends up being a very engrossing story about this lady finding herself and like her purpose in life. And, maybe, what people told you to do isn't always what, you're supposed to do in life, which is, it's a cool story. But there's a lot going on. And I would say it plays as closest to if you like the dungeons in Breath of the Wild, it's 25 of those sort of dungeons, but a little bit more like detailed to be different from each other. And as you go through them, like there's boss ones, there's heavy puzzle ones, there's heavy combat ones. There's different worlds with different dungeons. And it's very cool because there's a bunch of different open world settings that you get to explore, which is great. And there's also a very cool social mechanic. As you're playing through the game, you go back to the town at night when you're done dungeoneering everywhere, and you're able to interact with a lot of the townsfolk or people adventuring there. And if you gain relationships with them, it almost has like a Persona 5 effect where when you strengthen your social links, like you get stat boosts, you can get items, you can get equipment. It might unlock new parts of the game. You might get a secret dungeon, all sorts of stuff. And you can max them out in different ways just by hanging out with people. You can give gifts. Sometimes some of the relationships are a part of the game, but a lot of them aren't, and it does encourage you to kind of like branch out and do everything. It's also not a very long game. I think you could beat it honestly in 15 hours, but if you wanted to like get the full gist of the game and kind of do everything, it's probably about a 35 hour game, and it's very enjoyable. I honestly if I didn't move, I probably would have beaten it already. Just cleaning up the last few dungeons, and then I'm gonna call it a day on that game. I'm probably actually gonna 100% it too, which is pretty cool. I always love doing that, and yeah, I would definitely recommend it, especially if you have Game Pass. It is 100% worth your time. Very cool game for anyone, because it's not super difficult either. I think most people will get the gist of it pretty quickly and want to play more.
Cool.
Neat.
Yeah, I fucking nailed that.
Yeah.
Done.
Dude, yeah. Smooth like butter.
Yeah.
Good man.
Smooth
right, well,
like butter.
Let's hit the fucking news.
Well, we got to take a break first. We're going to take ourselves a quick break, do a little commercials, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what's new at Stone Age Gamer. We're going to hit up week-old news. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. And now here's a quick look at what's new in the gratuitous rainbow spectrum at StoneAgeGamer.com.
First up in this month's Tentacle Report, Nintendo Report. Chris, sorry. I'm just thinking about tentacles, getting all excited. Chris takes a look at the Nintendo franchises that start with the letter G. So what's been going on with all-time classic Nintendo franchises like, Geist? Or Gotcha? Or, Geist?
Gotcha wasn't a Nintendo franchise, sir. Sir.
How
Gotcha,
many
the
other
sport?
platforms? How many other platforms was that Gotcha game on?
Depends. Are you counting the toys that it was supposed to sell?
How many other platforms? We're talking about video games here, Chris. The Toy Podcast is a different one. We haven't started yet.
Juegos.
How many video juegos? Isn't that balls? Anyway.
No, that's huevos.
Oh, sorry. Geist. The game where you play a poltergeist that can possess a dog food bowl. Or Gumshoe. The light gun NES game where you control a detective by shooting him? Which is fairly motivational, I would imagine. I guess there's a little series called Golden Sun, too, but fucking nerds have only played that. Find out how these series are doing in the Nintendo Report, Geists, Golfers, and Good Jobs.
Next. Good job, Dan.
Oh, thanks.
Get it? Good job.
Yeah, no, I got it. Tentacles. What?
Next, with the Nintendo Switch's successor on the horizon, and the Switch's sales finally starting to slow down, Nintendo really is in an interesting position. History has shown us that Nintendo has rarely been able to release 2 successful home platforms in a row, but could this time be different? With little attention paid to the Switch's final year, I think it could be. Sure, these could be the ravings of a madman, but you won't know for sure until you read How to Guarantee the Switch 2's Success.
Finally. Sharpen those blades. The 3 NES Ninja Gaiden games are beloved classics. Gaiden.
You've
Gaiden,
seen The Wizard,
Gaiden.
sir. That guy corrected Fred Savage right outside the door. He said, Ninja Gaiden, ha! That's how you say it.
I mean, he was a little aggro about it, so I'll say it this time for you. The Ninja Gaiden trilogy for Super NES, on the other hand, well, is a pretty different story. What exactly went wrong? How can 3 great NES games turn out actually worse on a more powerful hardware? And what did they do to the music? Learn all about the supremely expensive disappointment that is Tecmo's weird compilation cart in Stone Age Game Review Ninja Gaiden Trilogy.
For all this and more, be sure to check out the gratuitous Rainbow Spectrum onto the blog section every Wednesday at StoneAgeGamer.com.
I should have said it like Christopher Walken. Gaiden!
All right, everybody, we are back, and better than ever, let's talk about what's going on at Stone Age Gamer this week. Not a whole lot. We got our shipment of the MemCard Pro 2s in, which people have been waiting on for a good long while. We've had about, 450 trillion pre-orders. Everybody at the store has just been working on getting those shipped out as quickly as possible. Hopefully, they're all going to be done by the end of next week. And I don't know that we're going to have any left, but we got a bunch. We're shipping them out as quick as we can, and that's really been all anyone's been working on at the store. So that means it is time. Once again, grab your ankles, ladies and gentlemen, because it's time for my favorite segment, your favorite segment, everyone's favorite segment. Strap yourselves in for Week Old News. Welcome to Week Old News, where we talk about all the news that was new a week ago. And first up, IGN reports, Castle Crashers is getting Steam DLC over a decade after release.
That's awesome.
Love it. I love Castle Crashers. I didn't even see what the DLC was. Did you guys see?
I want to say it was a pet thing or something, or new class.
DLC will not only see an artistic update to its ensemble cast and weapons, but it will also let players design their characters using the Steam Workshop.
Oh, so yes, I did see that. You can design all the pieces, and it will make the character for you, and it'll fight like normal Castle Crasher. Watch the video if you haven't seen it. It's incredible how good it looks.
That is very exciting stuff. Oh, this looks great.
Yep. Yeah, it looks really, really cool. Also, if you guys are able to get it on Steam, it does go on super sale pretty often. I got my copy for like $2 a couple weeks ago.
Castle Crashers is great.
It's an awesome game, yeah.
It's still good. It's still good.
Well, and they had that Alien Hominid re-release not too long ago, too, right? That added a lot of cool stuff. So I'm happy they're updating those games and, you know, more or less re-releasing them for a new audience.
Yeah. I mean, my son loves Castle Crashers, which is awesome to me.
It's great.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
It's just a solid game, super fun.
I love that art style. Yeah.
Tastes good.
It tastes great, dude. You know, it doesn't smell as good as the Steam Deck fumes I hear, but it's still pretty good.
Moving on.
I gotta get one of those. I need to start huffing some Steam Deck fumes.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. I really wanna.
Because one kind of cancer isn't enough.
That's right.
But then me and Dan can be twinsies.
What are you on Pokemon? You gotta catch them all. What's wrong with you?
Man, I fucking hope not. Although, one of the... This is awesome. This is one of the coolest parts about it. One of the worst indicators of getting cancer later in life is having already had cancer. And I was like, oh, cool. That's fun.
Good. Now I'm on a list. Now I'm on another list.
Nice. Yeah. I'm on a few lists. Stop sending me those emails.
Moving on. Go Nintendo reports, Udon acquires rights to publish Mega Man comics.
Oh, that is really cool. Great. Yeah. I think we were all pretty big fans of the Archie stuff, and it was a really big bummer when that ended.
Yeah, that Archie series was fantastic. Let's see, Udon says these new Mega Man comics will start being produced sometime in 2025. So, yeah, count me in. I hope it's as good as the Archie stuff was. That was really, really fun. They did such a good job of tying in all of the various universes, the Game Boy games and the board games and stuff. They did such a good job with that. And I was devastated when that got canceled. But I got my fingers crossed that we'll get a new good Mega Man comic series coming soon. Love to see it.
And I think they have done a few like Mega Man things before this. If like anyone's interested, like check out their website. They've done some pretty cool shit before too.
Yeah, didn't they localize the Megamix and Gigamix and stuff?
Yep.
Yeah, that stuff was interesting. I didn't read all of it.
I think it's cool that it exists. I've read a few things, and it's just neat to see like different art of like these characters I've just only seen on a video game before.
All right, next up from Time Extension, Donkey Kong 94 gets a DX Game Boy Color remaster thanks to fans. This looks outstanding. So, have you guys seen this yet?
Yeah, that is very cool.
I can download this?
I think so. Is it out now? Let's see. Mark Max on Twitter, happy to be able to show off our very first Donkey Kong DX trailer after hundreds or thousands of hours of work.
I see it. Here we go.
The road to get the result you see in this video wasn't easy. All I can say is thank you for your support and patience. We're putting our best care on this one. So yeah, I don't think it's done yet. But this looks wonderful.
Wow.
Because this game is so good. This game deserves this kind of treatment.
100%.
Honestly, I think the game deserves even better. I think it deserves full NES-style treatment. But I'll take Game Boy Color. I'll take it.
Yeah, that'd be dope, though.
Yeah, full. I mean, really, if any game deserves to have a full-on remake, it's this. I would love to see a proper remake.
Oh, hell yeah,
of this.
man. I think it's entirely possible. A lot of cool shit has come to the Switch.
Mario vs. Donkey Kong. They just did that. Yep. I mean, and that game I think needed it more because that game wasn't a great looking Game Boy Advance game. It was very, very pixelated. I've never liked the way that game looked on GBA, but the Switch version is just really delightful to play. I've been slowly chipping away at that from time to time. I think that might even been one of the nights this week that I couldn't get to sleep. I went downstairs and played Mario vs. Donkey Kong for like 2 levels. Nice game.
Great
Good
oldies.
stuff.
Keep up the good work, Internet. Speaking of the Internet keeping up good work, Go Nintendo reports fan mod makes Doom playable within Balatro.
What? We're playing a game in a game now?
That's right.
It's like, I haven't played Balatro, but the official Balatro account posted on Reddit. Literally nobody asked for it, but here it is, Doom on Balatro. Somebody modded the 15 card layout. It is displaying
as a control scheme?
Doom running.
Oh my god!
Time.
Yeah,
play Doom on the back of the cards in Balatro.
It's always
It's
what I
absurd.
wanted to do.
It's absolutely absurd.
I have Balatro. I almost want to try that.
It's amazing. The Internet continues to be undefeated in porting Doom to everything imaginable.
Why not?
Moving on. Nintendo Life reports Super Smash Bros. N64 storyboard artwork discovered. This is kind of neat. The original storyboards. Let's see. David B. Kimball on Twitter posted, "This is nuts. I accidentally found the original Smash 64 storyboard artwork created by Sakurai himself. I wasn't able to recover all of it, but here is most of it." Looks like he went through, was it the Wayback Machine, I think? He was just browsing
cool,
Hal's
though.
website in search of artwork, and he found this stuff, which is really neat. It's the intro to Smash Brothers, but storyboarded out. It's super cool.
Neat.
That's it. That's story. Moving on. This is another one from Go Nintendo. Rumor, this actually wound up getting updated. Mario and Sonic Olympic Series may be finished. The crossover concludes. Obviously, the Olympics are happening right now as we're recording this. They've been a lot of fun to watch. But there's no new Mario and Sonic game. And the update here is that Lee Cocker has now shed some more light on the situation. Speaking with Eurogamer, he explains that the International Olympics Committee are the ones who chose to terminate their partnership with Nintendo to produce more Mario and Sonic Olympic games. According to Cocker, their decision had to do with a pivot to NFTs and esports.
Ugh.
Oh, thank God. I was worried.
Yes, the Olympics has indeed branched out into the world of NFTs, so it seems likely that there's some truth to this statement. Whether or not this shift to NFTs and esports over traditional video games will work out for the Olympics Committee is another story. Well said, Go Nintendo. Because, yeah. I wish NFTs would go away. I wish a lot of these new scammy technologies would go away. Like AI.
That just keeps pissing me off more and more.
Or Twitter.
Word. Nintendo Life reports the legendary Rogue is now on Switch, but players have noticed a severe bug. I thought this was neat because this just dropped out of nowhere. The Rogue, where the term roguelike comes from, like,
Yeah.
it's just like when people say Metroidvania. For those who don't know, there is a game called Rogue, and that's what these are all based on. So Epic's Rogue, which I didn't realize Epic's was involved in the original Rogue, is available. It just showed up on the eShop. It's like a modernized port of the Amiga version, and it's pretty neat. But there's some sort of like bug where you can get halted in it, and apparently they are aware of the issue. It says Pixel Games says we are aware of this issue and are working to address it in a future update, which we hope to release soon. We'd like to thank the community for alerting us to the issue and ask them to please keep an eye on our social media channels for any news.
But
nice
also, shut the fuck up. It's Rogue.
It's Rogue.
You weren't expecting this. Don't be dicks about it now.
I can't see myself ever actually playing this. I don't like roguelikes, which would stand to reason I probably won't like Rogue. But it does seem like a pretty significant, pretty significant chunk of history there that just kind of showed up out of nowhere. And it's only on Switch, which is odd.
I think there will be a lot of people who are going to try that because there are a lot of people who love roguelikes, and why not sample where it all came from, right?
Right. I just don't know that everyone knows that this is where it comes from. Like,
well, let them know, Chris. Fucking,
that's why we're talking about it here.
Get the word out there. Let's do more. We should shoot a flare off. Does anyone have a flare?
Done.
Good, great.
We're pissed off.
Just shot it.
I shot it indoors in the basement. There's fire everywhere.
Don't think anybody else saw it.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah. In retrospect, this was a bad idea.
I'm sorry.
Moving on. Kodaka reports. This is a fun one, and it's going to get even more fun later in the episode. And I'm not going to do them back to back. I'm going to let it marinate for a bit. Kotaku reports GameStop dunks on digital games and gets savaged by Xbox 360 fans. So, the Xbox 360 store closed down.
Yep.
And GameStop jumped on Twitter and said, "Bet y'all wish you bought physical copies now."
Oh, God.
And they got just utterly dragged. Because, of course. But at the same time, let's see. Kittybit Games and Cosplay replied, "Good time for you to give folks good value for trade-ins. Drop the Funko and random merch and make space for more actual games. Not gouge the market and become a beloved industry name like FuncoLand and EB used to be before you got a hold of them." We got Natural Prime on Twitter. "When I worked at GameStop, after certain games ran their course and were deemed unsellable, we had to destroy the discs and carts before tossing them out so people wouldn't be able to use them ever again."
That was real shit, kids. We did that.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Can confirm. Bet y'all wish you bought physical copies now. Get fucked.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
SNES, GameStop has been and continues to be one of the worst retail establishments to work for. They pressured me to ask customers if they wanted to sell their fucking phone.
Oh, that's a new development.
They were carrying phones for a while.
Yeah.
They sure were.
Phones, iPads.
My favorite thing,
they went crazy for a while.
My favorite thing is when I call a GameStop, which I don't do frequently, but I am looking for the Batman Nightfall McFarlane figure, and GameStop seems to get their shipments of toys 8 months after everybody else does. So if anybody out there sees it, it's Batman Nightfall. When Batman issue 500, he got the new armor, like after Bane broke Batman's back. Fucking love that 90s bullshit. It's so exciting. Really want the figure. Anyway, I do love when I call GameStop, and they're like, "Thanks for calling GameStop. Would you like to pre-order blah, 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 or perhaps this, blah, 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 blah. Or you can also save 20% if you're a member." And it's like, dude,
shut up.
We're 3 minutes into the fucking conversation. Shut up.
Dude, I remember those long speeches. That shit was crazy. You get a call down from, not a call, email down from corporate, have a nice long thing on what to say, and I'm like, how am I going to remember this? How am I freaking going to remember this?
You know how I had to answer the phone at FuncoLand? It's a great day here at FuncoLand. This is Chris speaking. How can I help you? Done.
I wish.
There it is. That's it. All you need to do.
Wow, you guys, you know how I answered the phone at Game Crazy and GameStop? Hi. That was it.
I don't even remember Game Crazy. I think Game Crazy, I probably just said Game Crazy, something like that, but I didn't say much. I miss Great Day here at FuncoLand, though. God, I miss FuncoLand. I love that place.
That was a cool fucking place.
And then there was just people posting pictures of like, yeah, let me go into GameStop and grab some games. Oh, wait, and it's just walls of toys and shirts and pops. And then there's just a picture of an old GameStop that somebody posted, which is just heartbreaking because it's
wall-to-wall games.
Yeah.
Wall-to-wall games. Games on games on games. All of the space is just dedicated purely to games.
And they even had tabletop stuff back in the day if you wanted. I remember behind the counter they had all that shit too, which was cool. And like that all went away. I
mean, honestly though, nobody wants GameStop to get back in the selling video games business.
No, because they don't deserve it. They blew it.
That's not a thing you want.
But people have
if they
their
get back in there
memories,
and start gouging the market more than they are,
because they are.
But imagine the fucking dude at Too Many Games with all the copies of Little Samson, but a corporation.
Yeah, we still remember you.
Is that actually what people want?
No. No, and I
think
mean,
it is.
GameStop. I was talking to a friend of mine. I'm gonna stop talking about this after the statement. They missed the boat so many fucking times. When we started going digital, there was such a long opportunity where they could have been the main competition against Steam on a digital marketplace. Pretty much, just the two of them. Going against each other. But then, time went on. You have all these other ones now, and they missed that one. I'm not going to get into the other news because I'm sure you're going to talk about that next week. But there's some other stuff that happens where, I feel there were opportunities to transition into something else, and you just stayed in the same market for way too long and sat on your same stupid laurels that you always have. And they've always made the wrong choice. They don't deserve to come back. They deserve to die the death that they should have had, 3-4 years ago? Fuck them.
Yeah. I just want the Batman figure first.
We'll get that for you. I'll go get it right now. I'll just go break into the one over here. I'll go grab it for you. Don't worry about it.
To read from this article, GameStop is currently floundering in the midst of its own death throes. Despite billions in cash on hand, thanks to its logic-defying stock price fueled in part by a cult of personality around its current CEO who likes to cosplay as Elon Musk Light, the store chain's workers continue to get squeezed and laid off, even as its core business fails to pivot to something more sustainable than warranties and action figures. It's impressive how much people, from customers to employees, love games but hate GameStop. It's a testament to how much the chain dropped the ball on physical game sales, retro curation, and special edition pre-orders that smaller indie stores and mom-and-pop shops have sprouted up to fill the gap. You can still buy Xbox 360 games from GameStop, but you'll probably get a better deal somewhere else.
I mean, it's all 100% true. Yeah, man. Fuck.
Hundo P, as the kids say.
Hundo P, baby.
Oh, let's see. IGN reports Xbox hardware revenue down 42% from last year as Activision acquisition continues to boost content sales. Obviously, there's a dip in hardware sales all around as everyone's poor now, but Xbox's business... Xbox is in a weird spot right now.
People love to shit on Xbox. I don't find anything wrong with their ecosystem, their services. I mean, the Game Pass stuff has definitely gotten worse over time, but originally when they first came out with the Series X and S and, they released them, I thought it was all, pretty good, and I didn't find a lot of people who agreed with me.
I mean, it's overall, what is it? It's up 14% year over year, the Microsoft's overall business. Okay. But, their hardware situation is in a weird spot. I mean, down 42% is pretty...
That's heavy.
Beefy.
Yeah.
That's heavy. But as we... speaking of Microsoft, I just thought this was really super weird. Go Nintendo reports Microsoft's Cross Tetris trailer has been shared. Have you seen Minecraft. The Minecraft Tetris crossover. Have you guys seen this?
I have not.
Show me what is this?
I watched the trailer and I'm still not 100% sure I understand. There's a bunch of Minecraft people beating up Tetris blocks, but then they play Tetris, and then it is a really weird setup.
Tetris. Okay, here we go.
Got to admire the creativity here.
Very blocky dungeon crawling. Okay, let's see.
Get ready to stack and whack your way through the ever-changing Matrix dungeon, battling colorful Tetra monsters and unearthing the dungeon's secrets. Switch between 4 gameplay modes and take on this tetrarific? How dare you? Tetrarific world with friends and multiplayer. Jazz up your character with several iconic Tetris character customizations, including a free character creator item to show off your style. This is a Tetris experience unlike any other. You got that right.
Yeah, Chris, you're right. I'm so confused at what I'm watching because I'm like, okay, there's Tetris blocks, and then they show Tetris gameplay, and I'm like, that's cool. I want to do that. And then they go back to the Minecraft stuff, and I'm like, no, I'm back out. Where are we at
What
here?
is going on, and why are we fighting Tetris blocks? Oh, Minecraft nuts.
I got it. It looks interesting. I don't think I'm gonna play this, but I want to know more. Oh, it's available now?
Yeah, it dropped.
Oh, fancy! Oh, maybe I'll go look at it.
Next up, IGN reports Braid Anniversary Edition, quote, sold like dog shit, developer Jonathan Blow says. Apparently Jonathan Blow's a bit of a piece of shit himself. I don't know the whole story, but I know that folks don't seem to like him all that much.
He seems, from back in the day when he was making Braid, there were some featurettes on him. And same thing with the dude who was making...
Fez.
Is that fucking... Fez, yeah.
Yeah.
Just fucking dudes that were, like, high on their own supply.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Braid is fine.
Yes.
It was a huge deal when it came out, because this was, like, kind of really at the beginning of the indie boom.
Correct.
But it's really interesting to see stuff like... Braid was so... it was, like, revelatory. People really, really, really respected this game, and it really dropped off. And it's interesting to see some of those older indie darlings that don't really get talked about all that much. Like, nobody talked about Braid all that much anymore. Nobody talks about what was that Xbox 360 Metroidvania type of game, or Contra type of game. Oh god, I can't remember the name of it. It's gonna drive me crazy. It was like one of the big Xbox 360
Oh yeah, I
games.
do know what you're talking about.
Shadow Complex?
Yes, that's it. Shadow
Complex. Yeah,
yes,
nobody talks about Shadow Complex anymore. But then you got stuff like Cave Story. Cave Story 100% holds up. I just replayed that like a year or two ago. VVVVVV. Absolutely holds up. It's like some of it really does, and then some of it just kind of not so much.
Fell by the wayside.
Like Fez. Fez was a huge
Fez
deal
sucked when it came out.
Well, yeah,
exactly.
Fez,
but it was like this really interesting concept, and everyone was talking about it. And I tried playing it, and I was like, "This isn't fun."
Well, that's no. I mean, that's kind of like
it was more. Go ahead, Dean.
No, I was going to say, I mean, there's definitely examples of, like, just weird shit like that happening. And, like, these weird cases where you just never hear of them again. And I think Braid is a giant example. I did not know it was going to sell that bad. Like, I saw the trailer and everything, and I guess I had the reaction everyone else did then. Like, that's cool. And then, that's about it.
Yeah, I had no interest in... I think I tried the demo of it on Xbox 360, and I didn't like the way the game looked. I wasn't super impressed by the way that it played, and the market's changed so much at this point. Like, the novelty of having a small game that was a couple of dollars has worn off, and now the bar has been raised so much on what to spend your time with, and this just didn't do it for me. So, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Fuck that guy.
It's sold like dog shit because he is dog shit.
Next up, Time Extension reports, I love this story. Retro Museum creates arcade cabinet for a Lemmings port that never existed. I did not know this was a thing. There was a prototype for an arcade version of Lemmings. No idea that was a thing. All right, what a weird game to make an arcade port of. It was dated.
I don't like Lemmings at the best of times, but
I love Lemmings.
An arcade version is odd.
When life gives you Lemmings,
you make lemonade. No, I see. That's the thing. I can see it working, and it looks like it works exactly how I would expect. It's trackball controlled, right? So you use the trackball to move the cursor around, and you just kind of play the game. It's neat. I watched a little video on the way the arcade version looks. It just looks like Lemmings. Big surprise. The music's really slow for some reason, but it
looks like Mortal Kombat.
Tastes like Lemmings.
Very, very bloody. But yeah, it's super fascinating, and they built a whole cabinet around it.
That is pretty cool.
That's a cool thing for a museum to do.
And I mean, like, that from a preservation standpoint, that is like one of the neatest things that I've heard of. Because, we hear stories all the time, like, about these mythical prototypes that have never seen the light of day, like the Sony PlayStation, not Sony PlayStation, Nintendo PlayStation was a myth up until a few years back. When someone found it. So it's cool. People are finding ways to show this stuff off, especially in a playable way. That's incredible.
It does look like, the arcade version had the 2-player mode in it, too. The 2-player versus mode in Lemmings is pretty neat. I used to play that on Super Nintendo. So yeah, that's really awesome. Go this museum.
Go
Nintendo.
Good
for you guys. Ha! All right, Time Extension reports Castlevania Bloodlines is being unofficially ported to the Super NES.
What do you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
We're going the other way.
I love all that shit.
I want to see more of this, right? Because we've been seeing a wild resurgence of modern takes on Super Nintendo games being ported over to Genesis, and I want to see it go the other direction. Now, granted, there aren't a ton of Genesis games that weren't on Super Nintendo that would be like, no, we got to get modern Super Nintendo takes on those. But I don't know. I think it's interesting to see stuff like Castlevania Bloodlines running on Super Nintendo. The footage is obviously super
Kid
early,
Chameleon,
but they're you can see this first stage. They're adding like transparency effects and stuff, which the Genesis couldn't do. So taking advantage of the kinds of things the Super Nintendo could do to improve on these, at least the visual aspect of the Genesis games, I think is really cool.
We're Nintendoing it.
Yeah. Of course, Super Castlevania 4 has been ported to Genesis. Rondo of Blood's being ported to Genesis. So like this kind of stuff happens all the time, but you don't really see a lot of Genesis games getting ported to Super Nintendo, which is kind of what gave me the idea to that. Long story short, doesn't matter. Yeah. Moving on. Kotaku reports Dr. Disrespect is back online 36 days after confessing to sending a minor inappropriate messages.
Oh my god. So, yeah, I mean, that whole thing's just fucking messy. I don't don't know how he's still around because he dodged all this one time when it, I guess, at first happened. I guess his wife found out, and there was a whole thing about him having an affair, and he dipped off the internet for a few months, and then he came back. And then some ex-Twitch employee ratted him out. I believe that's what it was, right?
I think so.
And he fessed up to it, and he what was it? His game company parted ways with him too. Yeah, but that sucks to suck, man. You know, you thought you were in the clear, and you weren't. Karma fucking caught up with you, I guess. And people can say what they want, but he was a married, like, 30-something-year-old dude talking to a 17-year-old. Like, I don't care what way you write that. That's just, it's weird. It's the bad sort of weird.
Yeah, and his
it's gross.
Comeback
it's
thing...
It's gross, it's predatory, and fuck that guy.
Yeah.
He posted a picture of himself on Twitter with, like, a chessboard, like, against checkers. Like, that he's playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers. Like...
Bro, you didn't outsmart anyone, man.
No one's cool. Like, anybody.
Yeah, no one's cool with you anymore. Like, you're a fucking creep, and now everyone knows it.
And here's the other fun bit about this screenshot in particular, is that it's a chessboard, him in the background, the chess, and then the camera's real low in front of the checkers. As in, he's playing the grown-up game against a child who's playing kid's game. Yeah. This might not be the picture you want up on the internet to represent a comeback, but I don't know. Maybe it is. This is all gross, but it's news, and I reported on it. Let's move on.
Look, Chris, I mean, I'll say one thing. He could have been playing against comic-accurate Wolverine.
Valid point. Oh, God. All right. Kotaku reports Bungie devs react to more mass layoffs. Quote, my whole team is gone.
Bro, that was some sad shit. I read that.
Bungie's CEO locked his account just as the layoffs were announced this morning on Wednesday. Today, Bungie announced that it was laying off 220 employees, or approximately 17% of its workforce. The news, which comes on the heels of a successful expansion launch with Destiny 2 The Final Shape in June, and another round of layoffs late last year, has prompted former employees and players alike to criticize Bungie's leadership. At insult to injury, the company's CEO locked his account just as the news hit, shielding himself from flack and criticism online.
It's cool, the financial reports that show that he spent a couple $100,000 on cars. But, like, whatever. It's fine. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's upsetting, man.
The world is broken.
I read a Twitter post from one of they cut out an entire team from one of those layoffs, and it was a community interaction team. And hearing this guy talk about like his journey and everything, because he wasn't a game developer, he was someone from the community who became a part of Bungie, and him talking about, and it kind of goes to, I guess, don't meet your heroes sort of thing, and maybe don't work in a industry that you idolize so much growing up, because when you get the reality of the industry, that's kind of what his post was coming to, and how he got laid off and how bad the company handled it all and everything. And that's just one person's fucking story out of 200 some odd people. That's some fucked up shit, and I can only hope they just all land on their feet.
Same here. We've been reporting on so many layoffs, and the hits just keep coming.
It's not fair, man. It's really not fair.
It's really not. To slightly less bad, but considerably more baffling news, Nintendo Life reports even more Aero the Acrobat games are headed to Switch this year. We had reported that Aero the Acrobat was coming to Switch, and we were dumbfounded by, why just Aero the Acrobat? Why not the rest of them too? Why is this not a collection? Well, earlier this week, somebody in our Twitter, our Discord posted, there was a video of what looked to be an Aero the Acrobat collection. It's okay, the original announcement was pretty vague. This looks like it's a collection. It's not a collection. They're selling all 4 of these Aero games individually, releasing them at different times.
Well, Chris, I mean, if you get them all, that's a collection.
I don't understand. Why isn't this just one package? Because 2 of the games are the same game. You've got Aero the Acrobat, Aero the Acrobat 2, Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel, and then something called Aero the Acrobat Rascal Rival Revenge, which is an enhanced version of the Game Boy Advance remake of the first Aero the Acrobat.
Chris, you're just not a diehard Aero the Acrobat fan. You're not an acrobatter, man. Just don't even get into their realm, because you don't want to make Aero the Acrobat great again. And frankly, I don't think you could speak on the topic.
You're right. I'm not fully educated on the wonderment that is the Aero the Acrobat / Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel franchise.
Man, I'm really surprised that didn't get a name change or anything.
As it is.
Look, I've never had a problem with Aero the Acrobat. I played the first game at my friend Greg's house. I think he rented it. And we were like, this is pretty neat. This is okay. We played the Genesis version. I played maybe a couple of minutes of Aero 2 when it released on Wii Virtual Console. I didn't get very far in it. They're mascot platformers. They're kind of interesting. They're not bad games. I've never played Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel, and I've never played the Game Boy Advance version of Aero the Acrobat, which I didn't realize was an actual remake. It's very interesting looking at this trailer. It's more well animated. They put a lot of effort into this GBA port apparently, which I never knew that. Because when Game Boy Advance came out, there was a bunch of Super Nintendo ports of games on Game Boy Advance that weren't good. They were, the screen size was off. I'm thinking specifically about Earthworm Jim, just didn't work very well on GBA. So I just never really gave this a second thought. But still, selling these games individually seems like such a strange thing to do at this day and age.
They must be very fucking confident in themselves.
Wait, does this have any art galleries, box art stuff, rewind features, save states? What modern accoutrements have you added to this to make this worthwhile? And if you're really going to celebrate, this is 3 games. This is 3.5 games if you're being generous. This should be a single collection, and the fact that it isn't is utterly baffling. Like, I'm playing a Rocket Knight collection right now, and those are easily better games than this. What are we doing here?
You know, Chris, I think what they need is a speaker hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll solve a lot of problems. If they just throw in an Arrow the Acrobat speaker hat, I think you're really, and you know, put a different one with each game. You got headgear for each game, man. I think that's really gonna nail it. Can you get me in? Can you set off another flare? Let the CEOs know I got a great idea here. Give them a call. All right. Like I don't want
window this time.
Good. Yeah, that's great. It might hit the neighbor's house if you set that up. It's fine. That'll be a smoke
shooting
signal.
the flare out the window. I'm just going to open the window for ventilation.
Oh no, that's great. That's good. That's
even
good
better.
Stuff. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, this is weird, man. I don't know why anyone would want to buy four physical versions of this game.
I mean, they're not physical.
Different,
they're just digital. They're like apparently only going to be like $6 or $7 a piece. But still, why? Who's going to buy the GBA remake?
No, you're right.
When the Super
or who would buy the original? If you could buy a
who's
better
gonna be,
version.
Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel doesn't have the name recognition of Arrow the Acrobat, which itself isn't exactly a big name. Like, I don't get what we're doing here.
I want
Moving on. Go Nintendo reports Nintendo World Championships NES Edition player used glitch to achieve Donkey Kong record. I was kind of pissed when I saw this. Did I talk about this last week?
I don't think so.
So I went to go check.
I don't really listen when you talk.
Fair enough. So after every week they do a new championship, and the week after you find out where you placed in the worldwide rankings. I do at best okay. People in our Discord are way better at this than I am, but I do okay. I was pretty confident in my Donkey Kong score though, because I don't know, I do pretty well at Donkey Kong. I felt good about my S rank, but I saw the time on the top score, and I was like, how the hell did you do this that much quicker than me? And so I watched because you can watch replays of the best times of that week. So I watched a replay, and I'm like, he just starts climbing up air, and I was like, what the fuck? He glitched it. And I was like, I didn't even know this existed. I had no idea this was a glitch that existed in the NES version of Donkey Kong. Apparently it is, and they didn't patch it out or say that it wasn't allowed. Because a lot of times when you try to do glitches in Nintendo World Championships, it just rewinds and says that's not allowed.
Oh, snap.
So, yeah. Well, this guy certainly won with this glitch, and I thought that was weird, and I hope they patch it out. Or they don't, because I wasn't super mad about it. I was just, like, shocked that, one, the glitch worked, and two, that it existed and I had no idea. But I just kind of assume, like, glitches are a part of speedrunning culture, you know? Like, using glitches to get faster times is, you know, nobody beat Ocarina of Time in 6 minutes. Like, but they rolled credits in 6 minutes. They still say they finished Ocarina of Time in 6 minutes or whatever the record is. Like, no, you didn't. You glitched to roll the credit sequence. Like, that's all. But that counts as a speedrun, technically. So, I don't know. It's a weird story.
Well, I mean, when they do the ninjutsu with their hands to make the glitch work, I guess that takes some sort of skill, but, you know, it's a different sort of skill than it does to beat the video game.
Yeah. Utterly fascinating stuff. No idea that glitch existed. Oh, this is a weird one. Nintendo Life reports Nintendo expands Switch's online GBA library with Pokemon.
What?
Mystery Dungeon.
Oh. Fuck you. You got me just like, fuck.
Right? What are we doing, Nintendo?
Yeah, why are you tickling our dicks, man? Just give us those.
Stringing people along for the Switch 2 release. Come on, man.
They better, right? Why are we doing mystery? We're doing everything Pokemon adjacent except the actual Pokemon.
Yeah, they gave us Puzzle League a couple months ago, didn't they?
Puzzle League.
I really hope next week they release Digimon.
Yeah,
like motherfucker.
Just put the goddamn Pokemon games on there. All right, next up, Time Extension reports ROMhacking.net is winding down after almost 20 years.
That's some sad stuff.
It is. And I know there are folks in our Discord who know a lot more about this. I don't really know much about ROM hacking, but it seems like it seems to me that it was the creators were just unable to keep doing it. And believe me when I say I understand that feeling.
So, I briefed over it like real quick. It sounds like he was trying to hand it off to someone who came to him about it, and it fell through in the late stages. So at this point, he's like, screw it. I don't want to give it to anyone and try and go through this again. I rather just archive everything or what I can, and we'll go from there. So okay. You can't blame him. He's gonna do what he can to. I think you can go to the Internet Archive database and find a lot of the stuff that was on the website now, and download that, which is cool. And he did name a bunch of users that will still be doing stuff. So I guess there is a future, but for that website, that time is coming to a close.
Yeah, it is a shame. It does seem like there was some arguments between people who were involved in trying to get this thing going on. It's a shame to see something like that go away, but these labors of love, there's only so much a person can do. I mean, yeah, I remember when Geekade was not a podcast network, and it was a lot of fucking work. So I get it. But last but not least, Kotaku reports GameStop shuts down Game Informer, the longest-running gaming magazine in the U.S.
So we are going to talk about it.
Fresh off the heels of saying, I bet you wish you bought physical games, GameStop kills their physical gaming magazine.
And
that makes sense.
Again, like, you had all the time in the world to transition to something that was more manageable in a digital form, and you fucked it. And then on top of that, there's no archive. They just shut the site down.
So yeah, they did. The people can't get their old writing.
They just shut it all down. Pulled the fucking plug. Fuck them, dude. Again, fuck them so hard. Like,
it's not going to be hard to get this digitally backed up. Like, the Gaming History Foundation stopped taking Game Informer magazines, or at least the bulk of them, because they already have so many of them. This is a magazine that is extremely ubiquitous. It's gonna get preserved, just not in an official capacity, and that's
for sure. And
exactly,
I think it's just a bad manners move that you just pull the plug like that, because you knew it was fucking coming, because you've had money woes for such a long time. You've been planning this, and you just pulled the rug out from under everyone. Dick move.
Just like
dick fucking move.
That's it. This is the end.
Bye. And ROM hacking had more warning.
They were the last ones of the physical magazines, which really the only reason they were the last ones was because of their ties to GameStop.
Yeah,
because this was never the best gaming magazine.
No,
at least not in my opinion. I've never been the biggest Game Informer fan, but as a free thing you could get with your Fun Club card at FuncoLand,
why not?
That's pretty neat. Why not?
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Physical magazines do still exist. They're just not published by the big guys anymore. Check out Nintendo Force magazine.
Exactly, and that's the thing. They don't need to be. I think this going down is sad, because I'm sure people have fond memories, just like I do, of me being a kid. I remember going to the magazine rack, and not necessarily Game Informer, but Electronic Gaming Monthly, the cheat code magazines and stuff. I used to love just thumbing through those things.
Well, it's a physical archive of the game industry. That's why these things are important, that there's a physical archive of what is going on at this time. Because as we've seen with Game Informer, you can pull the plug. If it doesn't make sense for these companies financially to hang on to this stuff, they'll just burn it all. They don't give a fuck.
No.
But it's history that's going on.
Yeah, it means
so
something to us.
all this digital-only content, like the Xbox 360 store, all this digital-only content is just not sticking around.
Yeah, and it's scary that it's more for the Xbox stuff that we might not be able to see a title again just because it someone's going to delete it after the server shut down now because they don't think it's important.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of stuff that was lost on the Wii Shop channel, the 3DS shop. Like, as these digital storefronts close down, all this digital stuff doesn't have the permanence of physical products.
Did I tell you that I got Castlevania Rebirth to sort of run on an emulator?
Oh, that's great.
I was kind of excited for that.
We'll run it, but yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, all right, that wraps up a very large week-old news. We're going to take ourselves a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the endless excitement of Captain and the Game Master. You are listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. Do you enjoy the Stone Age Gamer podcast and other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network? Do you wish you could listen to them sooner than the regular unwashed masses? Do you wish you could contribute in some way? Well, then you should check out the Geekade Patreon. Yes, the Geekade Patreon is a wonderful and very much appreciated way for you to help us pay the bills and keep our shows running week after week. As a Geekade patron, you'll get a monthly podcast topic schedule and early access to nearly every show on the Geekade Podcast Network, as well as access to a patron-exclusive monthly show called DC's Amazing Movie Time from the creators of the Weekend Rental podcast. So head on over to patreon.com/Geekade and become a loved and appreciated member of the Geekade Patreon team and get early access to shows like the Stone Age Gamer podcast, this week's episode, Turning Tracks, and a whole lot more. See you there.
Vestlord is here, clicking and clanging away on the controller for the entertainment of the public. That's right, the premier cyber sports entertainer is back in league with the Electronic Coliseum, where all the cyber sports entertainment happens. The Vestlord is going on a winning spree of likes unknown to get a shot at the coveted Electronic Coliseum Championship. If you want to see if the Vestlord has what it takes, head on over to the show notes for where to find him, or search Vestlord on Twitch or YouTube. Become a fan of the ECC, back the best, cheer for the Vest. See you there.
We are Safe at Home, the leading dog rescue in the heart of New Jersey. Are you searching for a loyal companion, a dog that will bring love and joy to your home? Look no further than Safe at Home. At Safe at Home, we believe in giving every dog a second chance. We rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for dogs in need, right here in the Garden State. Our dogs are ready to make a lasting impact on your life. Each one has a unique story, a wagging tail, and an incredible capacity for love. When you adopt from Safe at Home, you're not just gaining a pet, you're becoming a part of our family. Our dedicated team ensures a seamless adoption process, providing ongoing support and guidance. With New Jersey's beautiful parks, beaches, and trails, you and your new furry friend will have endless opportunities for adventures and cherished memories. Safe at Home relies on the support of compassionate individuals like you. Your donations and volunteer work enable us to continue saving lives and finding forever homes for these amazing dogs. Join us in creating a safer, happier community for dogs in New Jersey. Together we can make a difference and give every dog the chance to feel safe at home. Visit our website or call us now to learn about how you can be a part of the Safe at Home mission. Safe at Home, because every dog deserves to be loved and protected. www.safeathomerescue.org.
Hey, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Andy. Neither of us are David Crane, but we are the hosts of David Crane's Amazing Movie Time.
That's our monthly Geekade Patreon exclusive podcast that covers movies that are cult classics, weird, or just sometimes laughably bad.
We ourselves have at least 2 of those qualities, so I guess it makes sense to hear what we think of those movies in retrospect.
You can hear all that and more by becoming a Geekade Patreon supporter.
And, as always, be kind, rewind.
Hey there, Stone Age Gamer fans. Are you also fans of Star Trek? Well, maybe you'd like to listen to yet another podcast, maybe yet another Star Trek podcast. You see, me and my friend Majid, every other week, we talk about the original series, we talk about Strange New Worlds, we talk about Star Trek. We have a third friend, Brad, who's sometimes here, but he hasn't been. I don't know why. So come on over and listen to our show, Yet Another Star Trek Podcast, at yetanothersTpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Videoland.
Mega High! Wake up, Kid Icarus!
Welcome to Castlevania.
It's Cargo Land!
My brain will get you, little princess.
Princess, the palace is under siege!
Behold, the ultimate warp zone.
Kevin, I thought I told you to clean up your room.
All right, everybody, we are back, and it is time for the Stone Age Gamer Cartoon Express. All aboard the choo-choo train, motherfuckers. We are talking about Captain and the Game Master, Season 1, Episode 11, In Search of the King. This episode originally aired November 18th, 1989. If you're unfamiliar with Captain and the Game Master, it's the story of Kevin, a normal-looking kid, teenager, 20-something-year-old, who the fuck knows, gets sucked into his TV. I think Lawnmower Man comes out of it at one point, like a purple Lawnmower Man, and then he's into
Love Lawnmower Man.
Off-brand Game War. Because nothing in this show is on brand. Everything is just left to center. This episode in particular was pretty interesting. We didn't get the regular villains. There was no Mother Brain and Blue King Hippo's nipples and the Eggplant Wizard. They weren't there. We were sucked into a mirror dimension where evil versions of all these characters existed. And, oh boy. All right, so I will say off the top,
yeah,
this was probably the most watchable of the shows we've seen so far, I think.
Oh, by far. That's not even a question.
Wait a second. Yeah. Well, oh, yeah, okay. I didn't hate... Well,
it's not.
I
was
just thinking, like, Sonic was okay, but... Yeah, no, this was
and
slightly
overall,
better, I guess.
The Sonic show isn't atrocious, but just on a single episode basis of what we've seen so far, this single episode I found to be the most watchable.
But yeah, it wasn't terrible.
I didn't nod off while watching it.
Yeah.
You didn't nod off a kiss?
I have lots of questions, but my first question is, why is her dad so old?
That was what Tiff said. She's like, why is this 90-year-old man father to a 12-year-old?
She's got to be at most, like, maybe 20. And that's being super generous. This dude looks like he's minimum 65.
There's a little Kanye West song called Gold Digger.
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
What's that? What is it?
There you go.
Captain N, the Game of Thrones master.
Oh wow.
Well, that's King's. It's probably not even his. His wife was probably out fucking around. So why do these Targaryen kids have brown or black hair? I'm like, I'm gonna cut your head off for stating the fucking obvious. No reason.
Didn't expect to make any Game of Thrones references to the Captain and the Game Master, but you're not wrong. It's just a weird thing to be in this cartoon. weird thing to be in this cartoon.
I'm just saying, where do you think George R.R. Martin gets his ideas from? Every plot in Game of Thrones is directly inspired by an episode of Captain N. Watch it! Watch it!
We need to do this deep dive.
Wake up, sheeple! Wake up!
You go into his house, it's just 18 TV screens of Captain and the Game Master running all the time. Infinite loop.
He's got the actual Kevin in a cage in his fucking living room.
I knew that guy was a hack.
It's a hack-a-doodle-doo.
Oh, boy. I have to mention the music in this show is weird and cool and awful at the same time. Like, in the opening sequence,
all of those things.
You hear the bit of the Kid Icarus music in there, which I thought was really cool. There was that scene where Simon was talking to the mirror version of the king, and it was playing like fucking Castlevania music. Like, this is
that was pretty
weird.
Cool.
But then there's a shot later in the episode where something's going on, and it's playing music from Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah,
which has nothing to do with the show at all. There's no Mario in the show, but the sound effects. There's so many Mario sound effects just constantly happening, not even tied to specific actions. It's just like Mario sound effects are just chirping off in the background while things are happening in this show. It's so strange.
It's very, very odd.
Well,
did they say at some point that this was from Wizards and Warriors?
They did. The world that they went to was Excalibur, the world of Wizards and Warriors, which is not the world of Wizards and Warriors.
Right.
God, what's the name of the world that Wizards
But they
Warriors
did say it.
They did.
Okay. Tiff talked through most of this episode. I was like, babe, try to pay attention to the dialogue. She was like, but I have so many fucking questions. It's like, no, I get it.
What is I felt like there was a name of the place that Wizards and Warriors took place that wasn't that, but it says Wizards and Warriors pits, according to Wikipedia, pits the hero Kyros, the quote Knight Warrior of the Books of Excalibur, against the main antagonist, the evil wizard Malkil. Blah 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 blah. Malkil worked for Merlin. Castle Ironspire, remember that? God, this must all be in the instruction manual, and I just don't remember. But I could have sworn like there was the name that there was a place that this took place that wasn't Excalibur, but I guess they're just pulling information from the original instruction. Whatever, that shit was weird. It was weird when Simon ate the bat, lettuce, and tomato sandwich.
Evil Simon, not regular Simon.
Right? Evil Simon, and evil Kevin's face. What? That was
lot of drugs.
Yeah, a lot of drugs.
A lot of drugs being done.
I wrote down
tons
the line.
And tons.
If you know all about us, then if you know all about us, then you know is we're going to get you.
That's a great line.
And delivered
that is a great
marvelously.
Line. Oh, flawlessly, one might say.
The only other thing I wrote down about this that I thought was especially interesting is that nowhere in the credits is Capcom, Konami, or Acclaim mentioned.
Really?
In the end credits, the last screen just says everything is owned by Nintendo. And I'm like, what? Like, not even the music was all owned by Nintendo. Like, they're using...
Yeah.
It was... I'm going to actually boot up the episode again just to read what it actually said. Because I thought that in particular was really weird. Because as strange as these old shows are, and obviously there is so little oversight from the companies that made this stuff, you would think that at least the legal aspects they would be on top of. Because, you know, that shit was definitely important to them. But going to the credits now. God, this show is weird. There was definitely some funny animation bits too. Like there was one scene where you could see like where they shifted cells. Like they were doing this panning shot, and there was
just like went up.
There's definitely more than one animation cell involved. They just didn't even do it. It was like so weird.
Tiff was doing some research. She was like, "What the fuck are we watching?" You know, and I explained it to her. She was like, "I got to know more about this. I got to figure out what the hell's going on." Apparently, the show, the network that it aired on, whatever it was, CBS, ABC, Fox, the CW, whatever it was, didn't want to give so much free advertising to Nintendo, which is why a lot of things were changed in the production.
Huh.
That's why the zapper is the wrong color. It's why the controller isn't called the right thing. I don't know if that's why Mega Man and Kid Icarus and Simon Belmont are so fucking weird.
Well, I mean, Simon Belmont is based on Vanity Smurf, right? These are all they're callbacks to caricatures, you know. Kid Icarus didn't have a personality in the instruction manual. There's only the one game, so they just made up something.
A personality kiss.
A personality kiss, and Mega Man is based on the first game's box art. Like, look at his colors and everything. It was just them taking shots based on what little information they had. The last shot of the credits is copyright 1989, Nintendo of America Incorporated. This program utilizes characters created by Nintendo. The trademark and all the rights therein are the property of Nintendo, all rights reserved.
All your base belong to us.
Which is, like, and I went back through the credits, like, there is nothing else that mentions Capcom or Konami or Acclaim who own these other properties, which is especially strange because we talked, I don't think we've watched one yet, but we've talked about, what was it, the Power Pack, which was the Acclaim show, that's like Quirk and Kuros. Like, so Acclaim did a cartoon. I'm so curious how this show got put where it is, how this show exists the way that it does, with these characters being credited to Nintendo. Like, because they absolutely were not. So much of this show is not Nintendo stuff. Like, Captain N is good at Nintendo games, but they're not all made by Nintendo. Like, it's so weird.
He's not just good, Chris.
He's best.
He is the game master.
He is the game.
Well, and like, what's super weird is, like, later on in the show, like, Link and Zelda show up, and it's Link and Zelda from the cartoon Link and Zelda. Same voice actors, same, like...
Yeah.
So, like, they pulled... It's a very odd... The whole time... Because I unapologetically do love this show.
Same here.
I think it's just so fucking weird and interesting, and it's such a fucking fever dream of, like, Videoland and Megalopolis, and, like, what are we doing? This is fucking
The
crazy.
Mega Man 1 Robot Masters look so insane in this show.
It's fucking a bunch of dudes that were, like, working on a tight deadline, and they were fueled by, like, fucking methamphetamines and whiskey, and they were just like, we gotta fucking do it. This is gonna be a deadline. Fuck it. And that, I feel like, was the creative energy behind the show that I appreciate so much. But the entire time I'm watching this show, all I could think about is how fucking cool of an idea this actually is. It's such a cool idea for a show. Like, Tiff said, she was like, oh, so this is like Ready Player One. And I was like, I mean, yeah, kind of.
Yeah, it kind
of
is.
Like, not good. But, like,
but that was what made me watch this when I was a kid. I loved the concept. Even when I was a kid, I was turned off a bit by, like, Simon Belmont in particular always annoyed me. Like, that he's basically Vanity Smurf. But I loved this concept so much because it was video games coming to life. It was, okay, what would these worlds look like if you could just walk around in them? And it never
jumping
quite
from
does
all
it.
the different... No, it doesn't. But, like, jumping from World of Kiss to World of Kiss is really awesome.
How dare you? What's
mega
pissing
dare
me
I?
off is how good you are at it. It just sounds so natural.
It's mega natural how I add Icus to the end of things. Yeah, I mean, Talibicus. Anyway, yeah, I love this show. I love this concept. I would love, honestly, like, no bullshit, I think there is a really fucking good idea here. And I would love to see it done. Even like if Nintendo just came out and just did it with Nintendo properties. You know, like,
oh my God,
Kevin the fucking Switch Master comes in and like, this episode we're in Excitebike-a-Kiss, and like this episode we're in, you know, fucking Gunsmoke-a-Kiss, and like wherever they decide to go, it'd be fucking awesome.
I mean, they made Smash Brothers. Like, come on.
This is what I'm saying.
That's what I'm super saying.
That's what I'm mega saying. Oh, shit. I love this show. This is the best one we've watched so far. I don't even care. I don't even think that's up for debate.
I don't know, man. You guys watched Bubsy.
Yeah? That's not helping the argument the way you think it might be.
I do have to throw a quick, just because I picked up my phone for a second, and I made the unfortunate mistake of checking out the scores. I meant to congratulate you on the Yankees decimating the Phillies.
Just absolutely. The new kid that they got, Jazz Chisholm Jr. I really liked him when he was on the Marlins. John Sterling, famous Yankee announcer for the last 150 years, retired earlier this season, and he was very, very well known for his home run
John
calls.
Sterling.
John Sterling was the best, right? And he had all the fun home run calls for all the Yankees. Like, my favorite, I think, still is It's a Thriller by Godzilla whenever Hideki Matsui would hit a home run. Like, that is fucking great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The guy who took over for him is a dude named Ricky Ricardo. He was doing their Spanish language broadcasting. He's working some home run calls in for different players. And for Jazz Chisholm Jr., he had two different ones. He had Smooth Jazz is playing in the Bronx, which is pretty fucking good. And then he also had Jazz is a Bronx bomber from the Bahamas, because he's originally from the Bahamas. And I thought those were both really, really clever and good. I like Smooth Jazz is playing in the Bronx when he hits a home run. That's fucking dope.
Well, reality has set back in. The Yankees just lost now, and the Phillies are currently down 9-0.
Oh,
that's
not great.
That's not great.
It's not where you want to be.
No, it's not. So, yeah. Baseball is going well.
Sports go sports.
At least if one of us was going to get 3 wins, I'm glad it was you.
That's right.
If the only team if there's only one team your team could beat, I'm glad it was mine.
Hey man, the Olympics have been fucking awesome. America's doing great.
Yes, the Olympics have been really fun to watch. I'm looking forward to some track and field stuff.
Every 2 years, like winter or summer, like I spend 2 years going like, man, fuck this country, eat the rich, blah, blah, blah. And it's, Olympics, USA, USA. These colors don't run, motherfucker. Bald Eagles. And just,
did you see
so excited.
The swimming event. Oh God. They put the Canadian and the US swimmer next to each other. And the Canadian's last name was Harvey. And the U.S.
Weinstein.
Last name was Weinstein?
Yeah.
That shit was on purpose. I know it was qualifying times, but that shit was on purpose. There was, I think, the Canadian women's beach volleyball team. Their last names are Cook and Bacon. So you got Cook Bacon out there. It's pretty good. I like that one.
Yes.
It's good stuff.
Turkey gun guy was pretty awesome. He's been
that dude.
Seeing.
Like his fucking jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah,
it's like I'm just gonna be awesome.
One hand in his pocket, just fucking shoots the gun and walks off. Everyone else looks like a crazy anime character.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love it. And watching Simone Biles, not for nothing. God damn it.
She's amazing. That shit is and I always forget how tiny she is. Because I watched her throw out the pitch at the. Yeah. There's a video of her throwing out the first pitch at the Red Sox game or something.
Yeah, she does some like 3 ninjas thing on the fucking mound.
Yeah, she does this awesome little flip jump. Then she throws the pitch, But then she walks up to the guy and she's like half his size, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, he goes way down for the high five.
That's not enough.
Legitimately, she is 4'8".
That's amazing.
That's insanity. What gymnasts do to their bodies is horrible and disgusting, but they do flippy dippy really nice, and I do enjoy watching it.
And they have made a lot of like listening to the announcers. They've been talking nonstop about how important safety and being good to the athletes is. Like just making sure, like, no, we learned our lesson. We're not abusing everyone anymore.
That's right. We're not beating them with sticks.
They're not doing that many dangerous stunts anymore. Although, I don't know, I look at the vault and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Just, we're going to run 50 miles an hour and then just flippity-dooba-da and up into the air. I look at that and I'm just like, no.
Also, a big shout out to Flavor Flav. Fucking paying the way for a lot of athletes out there, man. Good for him.
Tiff and I were watching the Olympics last night. They were talking about Flavor Flav and Snoop Dogg's there. And I was like, I just, what kind of fucking dystopian world do we live in where Snoop Dogg and Flavor Flav are fucking heroes of a generation and J.K. Rowling is a fucking villain, is just a disgusting, despicable transphobe. What? How the fuck did we get here?
Probably
it's broken, man.
Weird.
The world is broken.
It's when they killed Harambe.
Yeah. There was a pivotal shift.
That was it.
We have shifted from that moment. That's fuck. Anyway, it just doesn't make any sense. And so, Captain N, it's a good show.
Yeah,
watch
Captain
the Olympics
N,
instead.
Dude, the voice cast is pretty interesting here. Ian James Corlett did voices on this show. He was at least in my brain, he is the Ocean Dub Goku and Cheetor from Beast Wars. Like, those are the voices that I know him most for, but he's done a bajillion things. He did various voices on this show, which is wild. Like, who was Kevin? Kevin was Matt Hill, who is known for... Oh, God, he played Raph in the Ninja Turtles 3 movie.
Oh, that's exciting.
I did not know that. Oh, and he was the voice of Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Oh.
The dude who does Simon's voice, Simon Belmont's voice, was eventually the father of vampires in one of the Underworld movies.
Really?
So, kind of a nice full circle career that he's had between just those two properties.
Gary
he knew
Chalk.
What he was doing.
Gary Chalk was I think probably the biggest name. Right, Gary Chalk was Optimus Primal in Beast, and he was King Hippo in the show.
God damn, that, like, every time... They didn't use it in the new Transformers movie, but, like, Optimus Primal in that show would constantly say, "Isn't that just Prime?"
Well, that's just Prime.
Yeah, fucking, I love that saying, man. That was amazing. And then
I love that, and I loved how Megatron would always say, "Yes, yes." Those voices were so
incredible
good in that show.
Oh my god!
And I was so like, I actually considered seeing the Transformers movie that had the Maximals in it.
It wasn't bad.
Then when I saw that they didn't bring him back to do the Gary Chalk to do the voice, I was like, whoa, you're letting Peter Cullen continue to do this? No, of course, he's a fucking legend. But you've got, like, you tell me you couldn't get Gary Chalk?
Yeah, I mean, like, that I felt the same way. Because, like, I was watching the movie, and when they showed up, I was like, oh, that's kind of a bummer. But it was still okay.
At least let him do Primal, right? Because that character was great.
100%.
All right, Captain and the Game Master. Good shit. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad we watched that one. But you know what time it is now? Time to pick the next one. So let's go to our playlists here. Cartoon Express. Hit the old random button and see what we land on. What are we?
Really hoping it's more Captain N.
Oh no! Fuck. It's Donkey Kong Country.
Oh fuck yeah! Oh fuck yeah! Let's do it.
Yes. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, this show is terrible.
Yeah, that show's fucked.
Next episode, Donkey Kong Country, Season 2, Episode 5, Message in a Bottle Show. Oh my God.
We're gonna
I haven't
need an
watched
SOS.
this show in so long. I remember just watching in abject horror. Like, I would come home from school when this was on and just look at this and be like, this is really weird. This show is so odd.
Doesn't DK sound like a stoner?
I don't remember.
I feel like he has a very
look.
Dude, has a terrible look. Like those, I don't. The art wasn't that bad for 3D when they did that. I don't. Oh God.
I'm so excited. This is gonna be terrible. Oh, boy.
I already have cancer, Chris. Like, what more do you need to put me through?
Well, you've already hit bottom. It's not. It can't get worse.
We're just gonna scrape a little bit on the bottom before you head back up.
Oh boy! All right, let's see. Do we have anything that's really? I just want to see if there's anything listed in our Discord chat. We've got Jenix says, "Okay, so I'm watching this show now, and Mirror Kevin looks like he's on a 7-day meth bender." Durant says, "Meth is bad, kids. Don't be like Mirror Kevin. Say no to meth. Do cocaine instead." Trashman says, "Okay, I think I last watched this show over 30 years ago, and I remember approximately nothing. Having all the background music as a melody with game sound effects is really throwing me for a loop. Some notes. Simon Belmont has an incredible chin." Quote, "You're the salesman at Honest Dick's Bullwhip Shop. No gold at the end of the rainbow. Very disappointing. Quote, leave it to Simon to find a mirror. I can feel the respect. I'm perplexed at how the king was banished. Did Mother Brain put him in a catapult and launch him through the mirror? Why is the skeleton playing for cookies? The princess's dad may be lost forever to another dimension where seemingly most characters are evil, and her thoughts are, well, at least I got to spend the day with him. I'm not sure about this one. The episode seems like filler. Could have been better, could have been worse." Well said, Trash Man. Well said.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Well, there we go. Our next episode is Donkey Kong Country, Season 2, Episode 5, and that wraps it up for us here on this show for this evening. Join us next time, where we're going to be interviewing Rumblemans from our Discord. He's we're going to talk to him about his cool NES to Super NES conversions and really whatever else is going on with him. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Because I have a lot of questions about this whole NES to Super NES conversion thing. I think it's fascinating. I don't understand it. And I'm hoping that after we talk to him, I will.
Yeah. I would imagine.
Either that or we'll just be dumber. But anyway, we're on most social media platforms. And if you want to get in touch with us, I'm not giving myself all that much credit. We're not very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes. You'll see links to our social media accounts as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by banjo guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. I'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. Thanks again, everybody. On behalf of Dan, Dean, and myself, keep playing games.